Oh shit. Let me set this up a little bit. I think I zoomed in a little too much. What's going on, everybody? Howdy. All that. Test, test, test. All right, good. We got levels jumping. Let me go ahead and close this bad boy. First of all, out the gate, I'm done plus before the timer was even done, comes in with the sub tier 1. Thank you so much. A back-to-back too. A back-to-back follow and a sub. You know what? I appreciate the faith. I appreciate the vote of confidence. It's like, uh, maybe he'll be good. uh, the true hero. Sorry, I missed Nerds of Culture, but my little guy, my kid. Uh, oh, okay, your dog. Still, oh my god, broke his leg in 5 places. Just got him back from the animal hospital yesterday. Damn, giving him pain meds right now. Well, speedy recovery to your fur child. Let me fix this thing right here. Boom, boom, boom. Today, you know what's going on, CE Rouse? And that's right. That's right. Uh I need to get better at that. I need to get better at that. Also, I'm done plus. You are now officially a part of the Left Brigade. Welcome. Welcome. What a day. What a day. And what an emotional, not emotional, that's melodramatic. Nah, fuck it, we'll be dramatic. What an emotional roller coaster I took myself on. We sit here and ooh, nice. We sit here and we see Taylor Lorenz article that drops. Everybody's talking about all day. First, I'm like, who cares? Like, who fucking cares? Then you start hearing some more stuff. Other people are like, you should care. I'm like, man, I don't. Um, and then you keep hearing more, and you keep hearing more, and I'm like, this is actually kind of a big deal. Um, I understand that there is an impulse to, and I understand it because I did it this morning, right? My old ass is like content creators and who's paying them. I'm like, man, who gives a fuck? But then I have to remember last night, not last night, yesterday, I think it was, I'm listening to the White House press secretary, God bless her heart, and she calls on somebody. She says, uh, content creator Brandon Tatum. Brandon Tatum. That's that cop. He's in the White House press room, a content creator, an entertainer, not a journalist, not a. So then I think to myself, okay, maybe this is actually a bigger and bigger deal. Maybe it's Robo's all like, "Hey, where's my bag? Look, let me tell you all something." Lady Gray, hello, hello. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't be able to do it. Now, I would like to think. I would like to think that maybe it's a part of my my principles, right? Maybe it's a part of like who I am as a person. But I'm not sure that I would have caught it right away. I'm not sure I would have caught it right away. The way that I work is I'm kind of impulsive like that, and sometimes it works out. Sometimes I can trust my intuition and go from there, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that was not a smart move, and I'm not confident that I would have made the right move because I'm listening to some of the creators. Well, I would have figured it out eventually, or I would have got kicked out because I don't know how to. I would have to tell people. I mean, like, bro, like I got into the course thing. I'm making 8 grand a month. This is dope. I just got a text saying I'm out of the course program. But I stopped myself. I stopped myself because uh we're gonna talk about it later. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about it later. And that's what we're gonna do tonight. So it's Friday, right? Time has no meaning anymore. Friday. Whoo! It's Friday. So people who work every day, I'm sure you guys are super happy about it. I don't know why, but it still makes me happy. Did you see that ICE stopped firefighters for 3 hours from fighting a wildfire? This shit is getting bad. This shit is getting bad. Um, what is it? Let me see if I can find it. Trump wins Supreme Court. Well, this is what this is. Chief Justice Roberts, burner in hell. The Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to cut $783 million in NIH grants tied to diversity programs, lifting an injunction. They're doing it. They're doing it. They're doing it. And no, I'm still, I'm not getting I'm not getting any kind of like feeling of God, maybe they were right. Not at all. What I said on November 9th is the same thing I'm going to say today. I am angry. I am angry. We couldn't have done better. But I kind of you know what? I need y'all to hold me. I need you to hold me accountable. All right, chat. I need you to hold me accountable before we look at this thing. I need y'all to. We need to focus on now and the future, right? We understand if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it, yada yada yada. But honestly, I was talking to a buddy about this, and and there is this reformist versus revolutionary mindset that the leftist wing is kind of split, right? And so like definitionally democratic socialism would be like for reformists, right? And then you kind of go left from there. And I would say for most of my, socialist life, right, which is probably only about, I don't know, maybe 7 years or so, I would say that I was a reformist. I'm like, no way, no civil war, no bloody war, no nothing, right? Um, that is not to say that now I'm like, hell yeah. My mind has changed. I hope we have a civil war. I still don't want a fucking civil war. But it's less about what I want and more about the fact that I'm watching a system that we cannot change. I am watching a system where we talk about what were the people of Germany doing during the Holocaust? How could Austria just sit there and do nothing? And we're watching it happen right now. And you sit there and you look at the past and you go, man, if I was there, well, we're here. And it's, you know what? And the lesson learned has nothing to do with us as individuals. Nothing at all. Nothing, nothing. What's going on, Jon Stewart? Bone Factory, Beatmaster 80. It has nothing to do with us as individuals. It's not like, damn, I thought we would be braver than this, and turns out we aren't. No. It's because we live in this system where you can't, where the material conditions are not such that a revolt is even possible. And so what does that mean? That means we can fight to increase our comforts, we can fight to make sure that white supremacy is just a little bit more comfortable to live through. And let's be real, that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing for hundreds of years, just a little bit more. And you'll never get there. You'll never get there. So I do not consider myself a reformist anymore. I do consider myself a revolutionary, regarding mindset, not because I want a civil war, but because I am wholly convinced, right, that this will not change without the downfall of the entire system altogether. Now, how that happens, I don't know. Maybe it's a natural disaster. You know, maybe it's a giant earthquake that splits major cities in half, and the government falls. Maybe a fucking hurricane the size of a continent forms, and the entire eastern seaboard's gone. What is it? 80 million people just fucking gone, disappeared. Aliens. It could be that. you know? Um and god damn, I am getting old. Oh, I fucking left them in the room. Shit. Um I'm telling you, I it may not be a civil war. As a matter of fact, of the opinion that, given the military might that is out there and the way that they have indoctrinated military members, just like I was, they will think they are doing their duty. They will think they are being patriotic when they mow all us domestic terrorists down. And you cannot beat a force where, there's a sensor out there that could detect changes in the ground. Like if it's been disturbed. Wild. Ozymandias tried the alien thing in Watchmen. That didn't work for them. Yeah. Facts. Facts. Anyways. So today we have a guest. I kind of wanted to change up the what is it? How the show runs. I kind of want to change up the flow a little bit. Because we kind of we do the same thing all the time. We do the whole bullshit like we just did, and then now democracy now, and go over some shit, and then we call it a day or do some brain rot. And I'm gonna add in. I'm gonna throw in guests. Not every time, but I'm gonna be working to try and get guests on. If you all know anybody that would be interesting, maybe in what I want to talk to, I want to talk to people on the ground. That's what I want to talk to. So today I'm talking to a DSA member. Their name is Gumbo with a G. They them. And they are a Jewish activist. So we'll be talking to them. Black Red Guard. LeftFace Carter Presents crossover. I don't think so. My guess is, never mind. Let me stop. You should only talk to people floating 5 centimeters off the ground. Oh, what is that a reference to? That's a reference to something. No, you're gonna make me Google it. I thought that was a thing. Maybe I'm thinking of something else like ridiculous. Well done. Well done. I like it. Um, so I talked to nobody, or I talked to really powerful people. Go check out Black Red Guard. He is a member of the Black Caucus in the DSA, and um, it's not called the Black Caucus. It's called something else. What's it called? CG. It's called like Afro something. Afro socialist? Yeah, yeah. Afro sock. Yeah, 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 yeah. Afro socialist, Afro socialist and socialist of color caucus. There you go. Afro sock. There it is. And the DSA being as wide as it is, he's gonna jump on Monday. So for sure you're getting a stream on Monday. Don't say I never gave you nothing, all right? What's going on, man eater? Hello, hello. And hello, CG, by the way. But yeah, that's gonna be our change up. That's what we're gonna do. You're gonna start seeing more guests more often. If you have activists in your area, people on the ground doing the work, please send them my way. Send them my way. Because I want to talk to them. I want to pick their brains. I want to get people out there. You'll be a guest? Can do. Can do. I think that would be a good show. I think people will show up for that one for sure. Can do. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and bring in Gumbo. Uh-oh. I think I caught them. I caught them grabbing something or something. That's okay. Will do if there isn't a VOD. That's every time I CG's on the show. How long has it been? This 2020, 2021, I think you jumped on. So like for the past 4 years, CG's always been, I'll show up. You're not allowed to post it though. And if I have a picture, I put a black bar over his eyes. While we wait for Gumbo to come in. Oh, there they are. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. Hey, can you hear me good?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go in. We're going in. Uh,
Go and grab
boom,
my prayer beads. Just got something to
boom.
fiddle with.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I do the same thing, except usually it's my phone, and I just stare at it while people talk to me. Um, what's going on, Gumbo? Thank
Howdy.
you for jumping on.
Yeah, yeah. What's
Yeah,
good, Howdy?
tell us about yourself. Tell us, because I was talking to them before. Usually, the way this thing goes is we'll just bullshit. We'll look at videos. If you're familiar with any of the other like real content creators, they it's the same sort of deal, right? But I want to start like being a little bit more deliberate and making sure people understand that this whole idea of leftists, like online leftists and all that stuff, it's cope, right? So I'm gonna start bringing on people who I know are out there doing the work, and boots on the ground, so to speak, um, as I would have said in the past life. So tell us about yourself.
I still say that now sometimes.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm Gumbo. I use they them pronouns. I'm a rank and file member of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 1624. Organizes City of Austin and Travis County employees in Texas. Those are two separate employers.
Nice,
Um, I'm one of the co-chairs of Austin DSA. That's the Democratic Socialists of America. So myself and my fellow co-chair Shanice have been steering the chapter since we got elected in May, end of May. Um, and yeah, I've been a member of DSA since about October 2019. I joined YDSA, we started a chapter at my college because we were trying to start a DSA chapter that covered all of North Louisiana. I went to school in North Louisiana, and all the people in Shreveport kind of fell away, and everyone that was left was a student at the same school. So we said, well, there's this YDSA thing. We try that out. We founded that in 2019 in October officially, and it grew out of like we were a bunch of college liberals who had a college Democrats club, and we would get together every 2 weeks or so on some on-campus classroom and mostly just like vetch about Trump. This was like mid to late Trump years,
Mhm.
and then a bunch of us were like, "Man, this is really boring, and it kind of sucks because all we do is bitch
Yeah,
and we're not
it
doing
was a
anything."
talking club, right?
Yeah, and we were in so the school is in is I'll just out myself. What I don't care. It was Louisiana Tech in Ruston, Louisiana. So it's about 30 minutes south of the Arkansas border, about 4 hours straight east of Dallas on I-20.
Mhm.
It is deep in the Bible Belt. There was a church there, like the First Baptist Church. We would call it Six Flags Over Jesus because it flew like the American flag, the Louisiana flag, there's a Baptist flag, there's some other like Christian flags. It would fly so many flags, and it was massive, like real mega church country.
If it was in Georgia, there would have been a Confederate flag on there too, so.
There might have been. There definitely were Confederate flags around.
Right.
So there weren't a lot of us there, and so there wasn't. We didn't have a lot of organizing to tap into, and even once we were members of DSA and had this thing going, it was still pulling teeth to get support because the closest chapter was 3 or 4 hours away at best in like
Mhm.
Dallas or New Orleans or Central Arkansas. And it was also 2019, early 2020, right before COVID. So the organizing and the organization were not nearly as formidable as they are now, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but I helped steer that for 2 years while I finished up college. We had right after COVID hit, we started trying to make masks and get masks out to people. We did some mobile hand washing stations that we moved around campus to try and publicize that the school was making students go back to in-person classes too soon,
Mhm.
which was our first real attempt at a pressure campaign. We didn't know what we were doing, but it gave us something to do, which was nice. And like we had, a schedule for maintaining the stations and moving them around. We built them out of like 5-gallon buckets and some PVC pipe you can get at Home Depot, and then
Mhm.
One Direction pump valve. Um, and shortly after that, Hurricane Laura hit Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Mm.
Actually, 5 years ago today, because it hit on the 15th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, which hit 20 years ago today. Um, and so we sent a crew down, helped repair roofs. We worked with Southwest Louisiana DSA and a group called Mutual Aid Disaster Relief, which itself grew out of Occupy Sandy in 2012, which itself grew out of Common Ground Collective, which formed after Hurricane Katrina in Algiers Point,
Mm.
led by former Black Panther Malik Rahim and some anti-war organizers from Austin,
Mhm.
Scott Crow among them. And so we did roof repairs and supply deliveries in the disaster zone for a few days while staying with a friend's family in Baton Rouge. And then we did a free food program every Monday for several weeks towards the end of that term, um, just to politicize and do something. Again, just something that brought people together, that gave people a task, a thing to do together collectively that we could also see the fruits of and politicize at the same time. And then I moved to Austin, got involved with the Austin chapter, and have been here ever since.
Did you move to Austin because it's, like, one of 2 places that you might be able to actually do work in the on the left?
No, I moved here because my partner lived here already,
Okay.
and my options were largely move out here. So COVID hit, we had just started dating. Um, didn't really want to try dating other people during COVID, and wanted to make it work.
Mhm.
And it took me 6 years to finish college. So she started after me, but finished before me.
Okay.
Um, and moved out here because her family lived out here already, even though we were both from Louisiana.
Mhm.
Um, and I moved out here about a year later. The job market was better. I wanted to go into public service of some kind. So I have a degree in mechanical engineering and a degree in political science,
Mhm.
both bachelors. And The other option was to go back home, live with my mom in New Orleans or outside of New Orleans, and really the only engineering jobs there are like forestry or oil and gas, and
Mm,
I could not see myself doing those things at that
no,
time.
no,
So now
same.
I work in emergency management here in Austin.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, I
I moved
appreciate you.
around. Yeah, I moved around the same time a lot of people were coming in because of the tech boom,
Mhm.
and so I feel like a transplant in many ways, but I did not come for the same reasons that a lot of other people came here for.
Right. Right. So, you are decked out to let everybody know you support Palestine. Um, I got a from the river to the sea shirt.
Yeah.
By the way, I got called out on Threads by a liberal who was really upset that I called them blue MAGA. Excuse me. And he goes, uh, the Democrats are out there every day fighting fascism. You got a shitty podcast and a drop site peddling bullshit or something like that. I said, first of all, I got a shitty podcast and a drop site that only uses sustainable resources, right? Sustainable materials. And I have a low profit. So it hurt my feelings. So if you want to make me feel better, go to leftface.tv and get yourself from the river. Actually, this one is the shirt that I don't get any profit on, and I give it all to the PCRF.
Nice.
So
That's a good
the
shirt too.
yeah, yeah, it's good material. It fits. Um, you know, you pay for you literally just pay for the from the actual makers. It's all made on demand, so there's no waste. So I don't have like 700 shirts made. And then I don't take a profit from this one. I just donate it to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. So go check it out.
Hell yeah.
Um, Gumbo, tell us about. So is most of your work actually? I'm gonna go ahead and do what I'm told is tokenizing. I'm gonna token you. You're gonna be a token today. I hope you forgive me.
That's fine.
Uh, but you are Jewish, right, by faith?
I am. Yeah, I converted to Judaism in 2022.
Hmm. Okay, and is this before or after your involvement with like in pro free Palestine movement?
Kind of simultaneous. So I joined DSA, like I said, in 2019. 2020, the George Floyd Black Lives Matter uprisings kicked off, which really galvanized a lot of my politics that were already beginning to form. And around that same time, COVID happened. I was in kind of a lockdown pod with a very close friend in college who was going through the process of sort of reverting to Judaism.
Mhm.
Their grandpa had fled Nazi Germany way back in the, you know, way back, whatever
Sure.
year it was, and had like really hidden his Jewishness. And so my friend was rediscovering this part of their family
Oh, wow.
and looking into it for themselves. And I was born Catholic, or as one Turning Point USA person put it when trying to like counter table us or whatever on campus, I was born into Catholicism.
Mm.
It was weird. She went on a whole tangent about Democrats eating babies, and I just kind of let her talk. And at the end, I was like, "You sure about that?" And her whole thing broke.
I
Um,
feel like that's a really common accusation thrown like all over the place. Like you eat babies. Is that like I'm trying to figure out like does anybody really eat babies? I don't think anybody eats babies. Like the Nazis didn't even
eh,
eat babies. You know
no,
who ate babies? Slave owners ate babies. Those
oh,
motherfuckers ate
I
actual
didn't know
people.
where that was going.
Yeah.
Um,
No, no. You guys thought I
yeah,
was about to make a joke. Got serious.
but see, there's weird like anti-Catholic stuff in a lot of right-wing evangelical
Of
spaces.
course. Of course. Yeah, the
Uh,
Pope is literally the Antichrist.
yeah,
Or if he's not, because he dies and nothing happened, then the the Antichrist will be one of the popes.
yeah, or the Pope is useless. You don't win if you're the Pope
Right.
either way. I think
No
we
way.
should send the Pope to Gaza. I think if the Pope is serious about stopping this,
Mhm.
just send the Pope to Gaza and see what happens.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe don't, but
Uh
put his money where his mouth is.
let's see if he can stop protecting priests from uh, from charges first. I would like to see
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, so I was born Catholic. I left the Catholic Church around 11 or 12 because I was just like, this doesn't really do anything for me. They told me my guinea pigs wouldn't get into heaven. I was like, what the fuck do you mean? I
No
went through a
way.
kind of new atheist, teenage atheist phase that
Mhm,
everyone does. It was really annoying.
mhm.
And
I had mine at
early,
34, so
oh, my
yeah,
condolences.
yeah, it was alright. It was fun
You
though.
know, early 20s, I was looking for a faith practice that felt better, and everything my friend was telling me about Judaism, I really liked. And so when I knew I was moving to Austin, I found a congregation here and a synagogue and started going through classes. Um, and because of 2020 and because of the land back movement that started around the same time, there were a lot of blockades of pipelines in Canada by First Nations peoples. So there was a lot of just general discourse, I guess, about reparations, about blackness, whiteness, white supremacy, colonialism, indigeneity. And so I was already primed for a lot of these things. And I
Mhm.
knew of Israel and Palestine, but not really in any detail. You know, a lot of what I knew about Israel up to that point was from like Ziva David on NCIS,
Mm.
who was portrayed by a Chilean actress. Um, and I didn't know anything about
There
Hamas.
are Jews in Chile, so who knows,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
she's not a Jew. She's
Right, right.
and so but I knew enough. And then as I was beginning to go through conversion classes, the invasion of the East Jerusalem neighborhood Sheikh Jarrah began
Mm,
in late 2021 and then continued into 2022. Sometime around that time, the documentary Gaza Fights for Freedom came out, which was about the Great March of Return in
really
2018,
good,
2019. I
really
watched
good.
that. And so I knew really early on in converting to Judaism that I I had to interrogate the Palestine question
Mhm.
as part of that conversion because my politics really required it of me.
Right. Yeah,
I think
that's
if I
huge.
hadn't been politically active on the left before choosing to convert, it would have been a different story. But because I was already partway there, it left the door wide open. And so I took a slightly different path through the conversion classes. We have to it's like a weekly class about different topics about how Jewishness functions as a faith. I think there was a class session about the state of Israel. I don't remember. Um, and we write a paper, kind of book review thing. And most of the students did it on the book The Sabbath by Rabbi, I want to say his name, Abraham Joshua Herschel.
Mhm.
It might be Joshua Abraham Herschel. It's a beautiful book, very poetic and metaphorical about the Sabbath and what the Lord's Day means and represents, and how the way that our prayers are written speak of the Lord's Day as this kind of wife to welcome in, and really beautiful, but also kind of an easy thing to write a paper about. So I wrote mine about the book Revolutionary Yiddish Land, which is a
Yes.
series of oral interviews with Bundist militants, socialists and communist militants, and some socialist Zionists in Poland uh, before the Second World War. So all of these interviews were conducted by two French researchers in Israel in the 80s. And I wrote about how, like, in seeking out Judaism, that's the Jewishness that I felt called to, is this
Mhm,
Bundist spirit of Deutschkeit or here-ness, of
mhm.
like living and being rooted in diaspora,
Yes.
and the
The
Jewish.
almost like the isn't that oh, correct me if I'm wrong, before, you might know, I don't know if you know Ben out of Portland, he's in chat, uh, he says, "How's Mike Siegel?" I'm assuming Mike Siegel's in, Austin?
Yeah, he's one of our DSA elected officials. So he's a council member for Austin City District 7, the
Oh,
city
that's right.
council.
Okay.
We got him elected last fall. He took office in January. He's
That's
doing
what's
good.
up, that's what's up, and then, he also wants to know what denomination is
I
this?
went through a reform congregation.
Mhm.
Um, there was the one I went through was fantastic. other than Palestine. Really like textbook progressive except Palestine. Um, very
as they are.
accepting of very accepting of queer people, trans people, very pro-abortion, very vocally like left liberal. I part of the conversion process is sitting before a Beit Din, which is a council of elders. So mine was the junior and senior rabbi and the cantoral soloist, who does a lot of the singing for services. And one of the questions that we got to towards the end was like, "What's your relationship with the state of Israel?" And I said, "I don't have one." And I don't intend to. And they said, "Well, you just got to go. Like the people there are so happy and full of life and joy." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure some of them are, uh,
Right.
but my
Yeah.
Jewishness is here." And I'm not trying to convert to Judaism to get a free pass to colonize somebody. I'm doing this for me and to be a part of something here. And they were like, "Okay, we'll move on." The kind of a let's just not talk about it kind of thing.
So
Um,
that didn't hinder your the process of
mm-mm.
conversion. Okay.
I think they were very like welcoming of anyone who wants to convert, very welcoming in general. And because I didn't press the issue, they didn't press the issue. Um, and so I would just attend services and be a pretty small part of the community. Um, I ended up being sick both times Yom Kippur came around, so I caught Yom Kippur services like on the live stream. But it was nice to be a part of that and it's very easy as a Jew by choice to feel like alienated from mainstream Jewish faith
Sure.
if you don't also subscribe to Zionism
Right.
because you know they've been so deeply wedded by the political movement of Zionism that it's like a constant feeling of imposter syndrome. And I wasn't raised Jewish, so I don't have a lot of the Jewish isms and the Yiddish isms and
Mhm.
the cultural background. Um, but yeah, I was just attending services and enjoying it, and then October 7th rolled around, and I knew immediately, um, like, 1, this is beautiful to see not let me backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
The picture of the bulldozer breaking the fence down
Got it.
and
Yes.
the
Yeah.
videos of people, like, joyous at the fact that someone had bloodied the nose of the colonizer. It was something to feel elated about, and at the same time, the other stroke of the hand, I was
You
like, "This
knew.
is about to be so bad."
Right.
And then my congregation sent an email out to the entire list, like, that night with this all caps headline, "Israel under attack," and I was like, "Well, it was nice while it lasted, but I don't think I can go
Yeah.
back to services there."
Mm.
Uh, and we've had a lot of people from that congregation actually slowly move away from the Zionism that it espoused as an institution over the past 2 years because it's been harder and harder
Right.
for people to hold that and the contradiction of, like, what it's causing. Yeah,
100%.
I came to Judaism and anti-Zionism almost at the same time, which has been a
Interesting, I bet.
interesting path.
Yeah, I do think I do believe there's a benefit. There's a benefit to getting to skip the indoctrination. Because like really, so first of all, let me ask this. You said how you were an atheist, and I'm aware of the fact that you can be Jewish and an atheist. Many are. So,
Mhm.
are you still an atheist, or do you believe in the Hebrew God? You don't know.
I'm ambivalent.
Ambivalent. Yeah.
The way they framed it in classes was that it's very much a relationship rather
Mm-hmm.
than, like, there's really no at least the way they explained it, there's no, like, Jewish concept of faith in the way that Christians have a faith that something exists. It's always a relational, kind of thing where,
Christians will tell you the same
you know
thing, but yeah.
yeah, well, there's a lot of, like, you just have to believe
Right.
to Christianity,
Right.
that I think for me, Judaism broke down and was like, you don't have to believe. You can question it. There's a lot of questioning and a lot of questioning and arguing with God in the Bible, and in the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I see some questions in the chat about what drew me to the Bund,
Mm-hmm.
which It's a good question because it is more of an ethnic and cultural framework. It is pretty explicitly secular. I think it was an expression of Jewishness that was different from what the mainstream Zionist Jewishness. And so it was something to latch onto. And I don't eat kosher. So there were a lot of reasons why, uh, I wasn't going to seek out like an Orthodox community.
Right,
And
right.
I don't think there's a huge Reconstructionist community here. And I think they're still a little bit more hardline. Um, That was briefly, like, part of efforts, not, like, directly, just I was on an email list or something for some people who were trying to revive the Boons
Mm.
last year or the year before. I'm not really sure where that stands right now, but much love.
So this, by the way, this is what I'm talking about. I said, we'll talk about some stuff, and it's gonna go where it's gonna go. So, um, we went from, hey, how is it being an activist and blah blah blah, but no, we're gonna talk about your experience in conversion, and then October 7th happens, and this is during conversion. You eventually finished conversion, right? Did you get the whole like?
Yeah, I went to the mikveh, which, one of the only 2 mikvehs in Austin, because the mikveh has to be a natural body of water, if unless none are available, and one of the main mikveh for the Reform congregation is Barton Springs, which is like this natural swimming spring in downtown Austin that's
Mm,
fed by creeks that run through a bunch of the limestone like caves and stuff, the
mm,
karst limestone to the west. So it's always like a crisp 60 some odd degrees. It's so nice. And I went to the mikveh on my birthday in 2022, which was in June. So it was hot as shit outside, and it was really nice to be dunked under this cold water.
hmm,
Um, and it was around that same time earlier that year, there were protests outside the Texas state capitol that I went to, led by Palestine Solidarity Committee at UT, that I think is a chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine, just with a different name. I'm not
mhm,
totally sure. That's where I got this kafia, was at like a fundraiser at the local mosque around that time as well. I think Shireen Abu Akleh was martyred either a few months before or a few months after. So
mhm,
I was already in tune and not super involved in organizing for Palestine at that time because there wasn't much going on in Austin. And so I was a lot more focused on, work in my union, work in DSA. I think we had some campaigns trying to prevent the cops from getting another budget increase on the ballot that year. I don't totally remember. Um, And I was about a year and some change out from my conversion when October 7th happened. I had been
mm.
living more Jewishly since then, um, up until that point, and still held on to it as much as I could through relationships with people in JVP, trying to find alternative ways to frame that. Yeah.
So how does that affected your journey though? Because um, when you before you laid it all out, my initial thought is, um, and I hope it's not taken the wrong way. There's
Mm-mm.
no anti-Semitism. If you just scrolled through my threads, constantly putting people like, nope, nope, we're not doing that. There's no controlling the world. There's no, why do you, I saw somebody write, I'm starting to understand dot 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 Germany 1940. I'm like, what
Um,
the fuck is wrong with you? Like, no, fuck
no.
no, right? But given how many Jewish people there are, the prevalence of Zionism amongst Jewish people, uh, as a convert, as somebody on their way, watching people born and raised Jewish, your mentors, people that you've cried with and prayed with and read out of the Torah with. Uh, Many, I mean, maybe not all, but many of these people, are Zionists. And
Mhm.
did that cause you to struggle at all? Did you ever kind of like, was there like a patchy part, but you made it through? Um,
I'm probably still in there. I don't know. That's
I hear you.
something I haven't really sat with. I think there's the flip side of feeling like I'm always an imposter. as a convert to Judaism is that it's easy to distance myself from it, which is not
Mm,
ideal. I think it's kind of ironic. It's similar to being non-binary, using they them pronouns, but still presenting fairly masculine. And so when trans people come under attack like they are in Texas every day, like I think just last night there was a bill heard, SB 8. I don't recall if it was the bathroom ban bill or if it was a
mm.
different bill, but it bans some sort of trans healthcare in the state of Texas, I think. I'd have to, and my comrades are going to be so mad at me for not knowing my shit because we have a campaign about it in the chapter that I
Oh,
run.
he
Um,
said just, oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
uh, and so there's an element to it where I can kind of compartmentalize.
Mhm.
And I'm a communist, I'm a materialist, so I'm looking at Zionism and the colonization of Palestine through a historical understanding of the historical processes that I can divorce from the faith.
Right.
And I think there's a lot redeemable about Jewish faith that still speaks to me, that still feels appropriate. Um, so it's an unsettled contradiction.
Sure.
I'll say that.
Sure. I think it's, this is something that that like many people, since October 7th, and I've said this many times before, where my my learning started then, right? And Ben here, CGBRDF is, was a big part of that, and conversations. I'm just kind of like always reading and listening to lectures and stuff, and a lot of my knowledge comes from that. And I started to realize how similar, regardless if Ben agrees with me or not, the Zionism part is to fundamental Christianity, and
Mhm.
how they raise their children and how hard it is to pull out of it. And it's and so I definitely have a level of had a level of sympathy for Zionists where I'm like, man, this has got to be rough. Today I'm kind of like, okay, you had your grace period. Like and I really do think in a shitty way, just like I could be thankful for Trump because okay, he has made it cool to be racist, and now we get to see all the people who will never get to untweet, unpost stuff because the internet is forever, right? I mean, it's like you are outing yourself, and do that, keep
Yeah.
doing that. But the same thing for October 7th. Yeah, it fucking sucks that 1,300 Jewish people died. Yeah, it sucks. Like, well, I like to say 800 because there were IDF there. But anyways, but then you're sitting there with 60,000. It's like, of course, that's not fucking good, but it's like it was the thing. You could almost, if I was a religious person, if I was Muslim, I would say that's 60,000 martyrs, and I know that's what they're called, 60,000 martyrs to show the world who Israel really is.
Mhm.
And it's 2025. Like, you're not escaping that. You're not escaping that, right? That's why people say like we're watching the genocide on a live stream. You know what I mean? With all the phones and stuff. So, um, but I to go back to what I was saying, the similarity with Christianity, because I grew up very, very, very Christian, um, and it wasn't until 35, 36. I'm 45. So maybe like 9, 10 years ago that I started like that started falling away. And then eventually I would become an atheist. And in those last moments, not to say that you're in your last moments, but like even if you remain a Jewish person, there's people who get to where I got to as a Christian and never became atheist. They just kind of sat right there, and I feel like you could do the same thing where it's like this has nothing to I my relationship, my Jewish faith, or whatever word you want to use, um, It's not about which synagogue I go to or whatever. I think this is my relationship, and I think in that sense, um, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, there was a really good so 2 things. One, um, CUFI, the Christians United for Israel organization, boasts more members than there are Jews in the world.
Mhm.
So, Christian Zionism is a significant part of why there is so much right wing or just, like, broad support for the state of Israel.
Right.
Like, you're gonna
I
have
mean, it's tied into with the second coming of Christ.
yeah,
Like
it's all tied into, like, the fundamentalist
mhm.
evangelicalism or evangelical fundamentalism of you gotta get all the Jews in the Holy Land, and then
Temple
they're all
rebuilt.
gonna be they're gonna rebuild the temple, and then they'll realize the light of Christ, and the Messiah will return, and blah, blah, blah. Um,
Well, most of them will. Sucks about the rest that don't, though.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
sad.
Um, which it it's interesting, like I guess I'll follow that train of thought because the other train of thought was, there was a really good article in Jewish Currents, the most recent issue of Jewish Currents, which is like a left-wing Jewish publication for people who
Mhm.
aren't familiar. The editorial or whatever the word is for, like, the piece that the editor-in-chief writes at the start of a magazine. There's a word
Okay.
for it, can't remember.
Mhm.
Editorial is probably right.
Mhm.
But it talks
It
about the
is
need
now.
to rebuild Jewish institution like, the fact that so much of institutional Jewishness, the congregations, the synagogues, the funds, the nonprofit, things like that are still wedded to Zionism, and so much of the alternative current for anti-Zionism is still grounded in being opposed to Zionism
Mhm.
rather than being something positive first.
Mhm.
And so there's a big gap in terms of how we as anti-Zionist Jews are pitching the idea that you can remain Jewish and Jewish in faith and still not uphold a Zionist project.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
which is like they go on to say that we need to be thinking about really just owning the Jewish institutions that do exist
Mhm.
and creating better ones. There was a really good talk at the socialism conference last year that Haymarket Books put on, led by some people at the University of Chicago encampments, talking about religion at the encampments and how they kind of had a Judaism of the barricades, they called it, where they were holding Shabbos uh, ritual, like lighting Shabbos candles, but then also leaving space for people to pray Maghrib and pray Fajr and integrating all of these faith practices and finding ways to celebrate Jewish faith practices
I'm assuming
in a
these are all, like,
radical
different
way.
prayers from different
Yeah,
sects?
Maghrib and Fajr are but Fajr is the dawn prayer, Maghrib is sunset prayer for Muslims. And so they were, having Jewish and Muslim faith practices,
Sure.
rituals, at the same time alongside each other or in dialogue with each other. They were celebrating, Passover, Pesach during the encampment, and so they were having
And where
the
was this?
Seder and stuff. This is at University of Chicago, but it
Got
happened
it.
at a lot of encampments where they were having these different faith-based practices alongside one another and in direct contrast or in direct contest with the state.
Mhm.
And I think there's more to pull on in terms of how we reorient a lot of the faith practices that we have towards something liberatory. I
Sure.
know Christianity has liberation theology and so on, which I'm not super familiar with. Um, but then it's also the Christian Zionism is so funny to me. I read and watch a lot about like early early Christianity and kind of esoterica and um, religious history and some of the historicity of the Christian movement, the Jesus movement, as it was
Mhm.
called in the early days, is based on something called apocalyptic Judaism, which was kind of this strain of Jewish theology at the time of the birth of Christ
Mhm.
under the Roman Empire that was really in flux and was kind of contending with the fall and eventual destruction of the Second Temple in like the 70s CE, and this idea that like the world was going to end soon, but on the terms of the Torah and not on the terms of like how Christians believe.
Good night, Ben.
Um, and
Thanks
so
for swinging
so
by.
much of that is has been imported to Christianity, and now is always been based upon this idea that the apocalypse is coming soon and the world will end soon.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, it tickles me that they're doing a thing that Jews did 2,000 years ago.
So, it's funny you bring that up. I'm fairly certain one of the theories of or hypotheses of, like, the origins of Christianity, is that it branches from that apocalyptic cult directly. um, into where they reshape and they retell the Moses myth and recreate it in a Jesus character. And maybe he was real, like a Joseph Smith type, and then after, long after his death they just continued to mythicize him. And
Yeah.
so I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so I
Isn't
appreciate how. Go ahead.
No, yeah, just the historical Jesus is so interesting to me because he was Jewish and
Hmm.
was probably a rabbi or in circles with rabbis at a time when rabbinical Judaism was still pretty new. And so most of Jewish culture or faith and tradition up to that point was centered around the temple, and it was the beginning of the Jewish diaspora. Um, and it just takes me back to the fact that like being raised Catholic and being raised around so much Christianity in the Bible Belt, like it it's easy to be raised thinking that Christianity is just a thing that has always existed the way it exists.
Right.
And it's not. It doesn't. It's a historical process that has been created and recreated so many times. And
Right.
just learning about like the Reformation and all that does not really do that justice until you are able to kind of compare that to other things. And it's also why it on some level isn't that hard for me to resolve the contradiction between being a Jew by choice and being and supporting Palestine, because Palestine was colonized through historical practices
Mhm.
that yes are couched in Jewish faith or Jewish tradition, but are at the end of the day driven by the historical decisions of people who wanted to colonize a land and essentially visit upon the Palestinian people what was visited upon them, either in the centuries of pogroms before the Holocaust or the Holocaust itself afterwards. Um, and how the entire reason that the West decided to back the Zionist movement was really just as an easy answer to the Jewish question in Europe of like, well, we got all these Jews and we're all anti-Semitic,
What do we do
so
with
we
them?
have to
Yeah.
get rid of them
Mhm.
somehow. And they want to go over here. We don't really care about anybody in the Arab world, so
Mhm.
yeah, fuck it. Yeah, it feels so plain as day,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
this is a process that has played out over decades and centuries of colonization. Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a communist and I've been studying it for long enough, but
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it kind of goes to what I was going to say earlier. When we first started talking, is I do think there is a benefit to kind of coming at stuff from the outside. And I like, for instance, like I told you in the chat, when I wanted you to make an informed decision, when I was like telling you about my military career and stuff like that. And
yeah.
I think growing up a fundamentalist Christian, a conservative, in the military, thinking that Obama, like I didn't ever really believe in like shit like demons cause sicknesses and stuff like that, but I did believe, like most Christians, that Satan influenced people. So, like, I believe that Satan was in Obama's ear, and yeah, like I was that person. And then you come out of it, and you kind of like you escape, you deprogram, and you do the work, and you can look back now. And I
Hmm.
think that somebody who has been, let's say you have like activist parents, and you're like, even if it was liberal, you've always been on the leftish whatever side, and you've never known fundamentalist Christianity, you've never been a conservative. I think there's a certain thing that I find people miss. They miss, like, they because they're not the way our brains kind of think of stuff is like they simplify it, it's very reductive, and it's like they're cartoons, and they're like this because this, and they let their trans kids die because they're evil. And like,
Mhm.
oh, first of all, they are evil. Like, they're shit people for sure, no argument. But I don't say this to defend them. I say this because I'm trying to figure out what is the messaging that we could do to save those children. And you thinking that they think they're saving their children's life. They think that they're making sure they get to heaven. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, how do you disconnect that? And I tell people because, like, even sometimes in chat, somebody's like, "Well, how do I reach so and so? How do I?" It depends. If what they believe, and this is why, well, if what they believe is hooked on supernatural eternal salvation, good fucking luck.
Mm.
Good fucking luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I struggle with sympathy with Zionists, because there's no you know hell and heaven, and not in the Christian sense, and still they're like, nah, fuck Palestinians. It's like,
Yeah, no, I don't have sympathy for Zionists or Zionism.
mhm,
Um, I I don't.
mhm,
I could've maybe prior to October 7th, I
mhm,
could've
mhm,
been
mhm.
told, or I could see a path for reconciliation, and I still can for some who are, like, surrounded by it,
Sure.
but for the especially the most vocal ones, and for I mean, much of Israeli civil society still, to this day, supports what
Yes.
their military is doing in
Right.
Gaza, and I I I know that on some level they are propagandized to hell, and
Mhm.
on another level, like, a lot of people also accept it because it is a project built on telling them that they are better and superior for various reasons that are innate to them, that they can both be victimized for and strong for. It's a
Mhm.
fascist movement in that way. But in the US, and thinking about, like, conservatives in the US, I don't know, I maybe push back a little bit on, like, just how evil they are,
Mhm.
because I'm from South Louisiana. I've lived almost my entire
Which
life
one?
in the
Just
South.
Christians in general?
Yeah, Christians in
Oh, no,
general,
yeah, I don't think that. Yeah.
conservatives, and I don't know, I think you're right that a lot of people who are not to get all the coastal elite, but, like, there is a dominant strain in US left politics, and maybe more so in liberal politics than left politics, but still to a degree in, like, socialist and communist spaces, that the people in red states, people in red areas are backwards,
Right.
or they are not worth saving or can't be saved,
Right. I
and
hear it
those
about
are
Texas all the time. I'm in
yeah,
Georgia.
Texas,
Yeah. And it's like, you
Louisiana,
realize that there are marginalized people who cannot leave when you say, "I hope a hurricane wipes them all out." Like, what?
yeah, and on top of that, like, the people who vote for Trump, like, I was in Louisiana a few weeks ago visiting my sister, her grandma had passed away, and, they some of her grandma's friends talked about, like, how she loved Trump, and I know that all of the people in town, when I went to go get, like, groceries and stuff for having people over, like, they probably voted for Trump, but they're also fundamentally good people. A lot of those people voted for Trump because they misguidedly believed that he would actually fix some things, or they are racist, but racist in a way where they don't like the idea of black and brown people, but they have black and brown friends and coworkers more often than not. They are, like, close with. And on top of that, like, the South is plurality, if not majority, black. And the Communist Party in the 1930s and 40s was very cognizant of the fact that the center of radicalism in the US is the South, and specifically the Black South. And that's still pretty true today. Um, and so writing off entire regions of people because they seem like they'll never be on board with your politics is just bad politics. It's bad organizing.
Let me
Um,
say real quick before we get too far from it.
yeah,
You can't be racist and fundamentally good. I'm just going to throw that
no,
out
no,
there. Yeah.
no. But there are ways that people like that can show care for others and that they've been raised to be racist. And I think that some people can be brought out of it.
Facts.
I
Yeah,
think they can be
100%.
made anti-racist or at least not racist, which is still a win
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
Um, like if we can get my uncle to stop saying the N-word, I'm like, you know what? That's a win on some level.
Right.
I wouldn't call it like good organizing strategy to target those people for building the base for a movement that we need,
Right.
but there are thousands and millions of people around them that
Mhm.
are need to be part of that movement. And like I mentioned, today's the anniversary of Katrina, and New Orleans being a majority black city in the South makes it very easy to write off. And New Orleans is blue, sure. So like there's some level of which like a liberal might say, "Oh, that's terrible that it happened there." But people outside of New Orleans in the red areas like Homa, Plaquemines Parish, St. Bernard, like they were still hit. And
Mhm.
when storms like that happen, you see people come together across race and class lines, more race than class, um, in a way that you might not expect before. Like people will go out and do anything to save their neighbors, even if they may have really not liked their neighbors before. Now, I won't say that that's categorically true because there are groups like the Cajun Navy is one that exists in various forms and has been reported to prioritize white people for rescues when they go out and do their shit. Um, and also they kind of operate like a fascist paramilitary unit. They're weird. Um, but in general, there's a lot about people worth redeeming that I think is easily written off by people in bastions of what seems like ideological cohesion, like the internet. Like when you end up on, you mentioned like online leftists and stuff. I had deleted my Twitter account 2 or 3 years ago, not
Good.
long after Elon Musk bought it.
Yep.
And it was a wonder for my organizing because like I would just be on Twitter all the time,
Mhm.
and that's not you're not even when you have a good conversation in your replies, like, you're not moving people to action, and you can also very easily just cut them off if you're like, "Oh, fuck you, I disagree with that point." But
Sure.
when you show up every day to work with people of all races and genders, like, you can't just not have them be your coworker. You can't
Right.
just have your neighbors not be your neighbors anymore.
Mhm.
And so organizing on the basis of where we are, where we live,
Mhm.
where we
Meeting people
work,
where
what
they're
we
at,
do.
right?
Yeah. I hate that phrase. I know it's important. I know it
Is
means
it
a
just
lot.
because of how many times it's
It's
used?
just too common. I'm so tired of hearing it.
Are
It's
you the
lost meaning for me.
are you the type of person that's, you hate a dope song just because a bunch of people like it? Are you that
No,
person?
I'm not like that.
No, I
I like
feel you,
pop
I
music.
feel you. I've been hearing meet people where they're at, for a long time, especially from my Christian time, so, um, it's just it's just saying, yeah, I get it. Uh, so let's spend let's spend the last 9 minutes of our conversation, um,
No dead air here.
talk about talk about, your passion, disaster preparedness. You live in Texas. I live in Savannah, Southeast Georgia. Um, we saw what happened in North Carolina, San Diego flooding, fires in LA. Like it really doesn't, the tornadoes in the Midwest. There it doesn't really no one's safe.
Mhm.
So, uh, if you had to give a 9-minute spiel on things you wish more people knew, but nobody does type shit, or whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. That's real open-ended. Um, yeah, I like to joke that I have, like, a punch card for disasters because
Yeah.
I lived through Katrina, obviously, as a child.
Oh, wow.
I was not to make you feel old, I was 8 when it hit, so I'm 28 now.
Nice.
I just got off the phone with my mom a little bit ago asking her, like, "What actually happened?" Because I have an
By
eight-year-old
the way,
memory.
I wouldn't have felt old, but now I do because you said that. So appreciate that.
Um, yeah, I have an eight-year-old's memory of, like, evacuating, uh, being stuck on the causeway over the lake, and, like,
Wow.
the outer bands of the storm are hitting, and I thought I saw water spouts over the lake. I don't think that's true, but it was windy. I, remember celebrating my brother's 4th birthday while evacuated with, like, his Thomas the Tank Engine cake, and the storm's, like, slamming the walls of the cottage we were
Oh,
staying
wow.
in. Um, I remember looking down the side streets when we finally got back to my grandpa's house, which was the next place we were evacuating to, and, like, some guys were loading the gator on a flatbed truck. I remember, like, the fear. I remember my great grandma screaming the whole time at night because she would forget where she was because she had dementia and, like, nightmares about my sister because she was living in Chalmette, which the entirety of Chalmette was underwater, east of New Orleans. And she had to get rescued off her roof, and I didn't even know she was alive for a few weeks. Um, but then I also lived through a tornado in my college town. I managed to visit a blizzard while dating someone who lived in Iowa in college. I was in Austin for the winter storm in 2021,
Mhm,
and
damn.
then again for the ice storm in 2023. I lived here by then.
You talking about the
Uh,
one where, Ted Cruz was out there with the people, shoveling people out of
oh,
their
yeah,
homes and
no,
stuff?
I think we just need to, like, check his vacation schedule, and if he's planning to fly to Cancun, we should just know some shit's gonna happen because
Something's about to go
he
down.
was in Cancun. He flew to Mexico when the
Mhm.
4th of July floods happened. Um,
Yep.
and I a lot of my politics formed around or were, like, informed by living through so many disasters. I just spoke at our general meeting for our chapter on Tuesday about, like, I was 8 years old when I learned the meaning of the term organized abandonment,
Mm.
and I didn't know that term at the time. I didn't learn that
I
term until
still don't
much
know what
later.
that term is, so it's good.
It's I mean, in brief, it's a planned it's very literal. It's the government or the state or whatever force is in power is deliberately ceding control of
Mm,
a place.
mm, mm,
So, New Orleans experienced organized abandonment in the fact that they the local government was not prepared. The federal government did not finish the levee project that they were told by Congress to do 40 years prior when Hurricane Betsy hit in the 60s. It was not done, and it was not done correctly where it was done, because they just didn't care, because they knew it was a majority black city. They knew no one's going to hold them accountable for it, and no one ever
mhm,
did.
mhm.
And so the state is able to basically just extract resources from a place while never actually putting anything back into it.
That's right.
And I I was like a child when I learned in practice what that means.
Right.
Um, and I also am maybe not as optimistic as I could be about our chances for the 21st century with climate change. And I
Mhm.
think that more and more people are going to be hit with worse and worse disasters.
Yep.
It's been happening. It is going to continue to get worse. We will not feel it as quickly in the US as some in the global south do, like Pakistan, Bangladesh have been hit with devastating floods with, like,
Mhm,
thousands killed. And it's easy to think, well, that's because those places aren't prepared for it, or those are poor countries or whatever.
mm.
And, like, they're poor for a reason. They're poor
Right.
because the West has stolen from them for hundreds of years.
Facts.
And none of the wealth that we've hoarded in the US is gonna keep anybody safe
Mm,
here when it comes for us. I think Octavia Butler's parable of the sower was prophetic in a lot of ways, that, like, things will break slowly at first and then continue to break. And unless there is an organized working class, a broad, movement that can keep each other safe, then it's going to be pretty bad. So a lot of my politics around disasters and my approach to disaster relief is like you and your neighbors are your first line of defense.
Mm,
The Red Cross may show up a week later. They might have food, they might not. You can read a lot of accounts from all kinds of different disasters where the Red Cross did not have infrastructure set up and was relying on local infrastructure set up autonomously by people and then claiming that it was the Red Cross. FEMA is constantly being defunded and wasn't really built for rapid response. But when a disaster hits, your your household and your neighbors are sometimes the only things near you that you can access.
mhm,
Like I have when Hurricane Laura passed through, I was in college. It was still a Category 1 hurricane when it made its way to Arkansas, and it hit my college town too. And I met several neighbors in my neighborhood because we were clearing ditches so that the water could like flow, and clearing roads with some chainsaws and like bringing food to people and checking on people without power, just because they were in walking distance.
sure,
Um, and there's a lot of resources out there to help you prepare yourself to stock up on the things that you do need in a way that's not preppery in the right wing sense, but prepper in like the leftist self defense way or community self defense way of
facts.
like I you can't rely on the state to save you. Even if it wanted to, it usually can't right away, but you can rely on the people closest to you.
Sure,
And then through that relationship that you build with your neighbors, that can become more because like say you live in an apartment building, you've got like 100 units that are your neighbors, and y'all are checking on each other and making sure that like anybody with special needs, who's elderly, who's got assistance need or mobility needs or whatever is okay during this disaster event. Well, now you've built relationships with them that last past the disaster, last past the window of people caring about it from outside usually spans a month, maybe two, but the effects are felt for years.
mhm,
Um, and so you can continue to build that for yourselves, and those relationships could become a tenant union where you're now extracting demands from your landlord. You can organize on the basis of what your boss is making. Like people were forced to go to work during the winter storm in 2021, and they were like, I can't, like it's the roads are icy, power's out everywhere, it's not safe, but they were told if they didn't show up, they'd get fired.
hmm,
And that's the basis for workplace organizing. Like there, we are labor is endowed to all it creates or whatever. Like we make the shit run. People make it run. It's not money that makes it run. It's not politicians or wealth that make things happen. It's us taking an action and doing a thing and
mm,
imbibing our or imbuing our labor into it. Um, and that's the basis of all we can do, unshackled from the various things that keep us down.
sure, sure. So you heard it. Meet your neighbors. I know if anybody understands not being neighborly and meeting people, it's me. But I definitely met this neighbor. Next door neighbors are brand new, and I gotta do it. I do it. I'm antisocial
Yeah, it's
like a
corny
mofo,
and
but
it's hard, and we're all like alienated from ourselves and each
yeah,
other
yeah.
with the internet. But like, it
It's
makes
shit's
it
only
like,
gonna get worse.
yeah, and the internet's real, but it's not reality. And I think
Sure.
it's even for me, like it's so easy to get lost in the screen, and like that's not where life happens.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be.
It's not
And I
it's
think,
not sustainable.
yeah.
That's what I say, 'cause I defend, like, people falling in love on the internet or, close friends. Like, I have really good friends, and I do another podcast with my buddy that I've known for, like, 7 years now. We've never met, you know? And
Mhm.
I would say he's definitely one of my best friends. But to your point, disaster hits. I'm just gonna have to hope he's doing well, and then I only have my neighbors. I only have people within my community.
Yeah,
Um,
and on that also, like, the more we let life only happen on the internet,
Facts,
the more power the people who run it, like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and all them, have power over us.
facts.
And I know I was having that conversation earlier with a comrade, but
Yeah,
there's a life to live,
yeah,
and the internet makes it better, but we just can't let it be everything.
that's right. You're right. Gumbo, thank you so much for coming on, and if you ever want to jump on again and BS, let me know.
Yeah, sure. I didn't even really get to talk about the organizing project, so
Yeah, yeah, maybe yeah, we'll talk. I'll chat.
sure.
All
Thanks for
right,
having me.
take it easy. In the Discord, in the description there's some links to their DSA chapter and some Palestine resistance stuff. And then we'll definitely have them on again and talk about like organizing and all that kind of stuff too. So sometimes I'll get like DMs from people and wanting advice and stuff, but I don't always um I don't always know, and there are people who've been doing this for a long time. And you know, I think we just need to start leaning on that a little bit more. So all right. It's time for the main event. Is this still a thing? Let me see what's going on. Let me see if there's anything brand spanking new. Uh maybe some bomb drop. Maybe somebody came out and they were like, Taylor Lorenz is wrong. Uh yeah, no shit. Feminista Jones, listen, if y'all are on threads, I'm gonna need you to do yourself a favor. Do yourself a solid and head over and follow Feminista Jones. Y'all really think Obama's ICE agents weren't ripping children from their parents' arms? Yeah, but he was so nice when he talked about it, and yeah. All right. We're gonna talk about this whole dark money situation. And like I said at the beginning, and now we'll really just now we'll really go into it. Like I said at the beginning, um it really did kind of start off as something that I really didn't give two shits about. It just didn't. I was just and for a couple different reasons. My initial feelings of not giving a crap were, um, I mean, yeah, everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. You know what I mean? And while I do think the libs are, a lot of times bad people, or at the very least, even if they're well-meaning and well-intentioned, useful idiots, I'm thinking to myself, while I think that they're still like closer to our side. I'm not getting paid. Wait, I'm not at liberty to say, they wouldn't pay me anyway. Look at the creators. All right. So we'll start there. How about that? We'll start there because let me tell you something. When you look at the creators who are being named on this thing, um, I don't qualify. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let's start from the beginning. So Taylor Lorenz is a popular journalist. She kind of blew up. She had always been, pretty savvy on the internet. She was known, but what really kind of just like exploded her reach, her platform, her fame, was her getting into it with libs of TikTok. And for those who don't know, Libs of TikTok is this disgusting, vile piece of shit of a woman um named Chayek or some shit like that. And the only reason why we know who she is because of Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz found out who she was, wanted to reach out to her to get an interview, and in doing so, letting people know who the fuck she was, So they tried to say she was doxxed or whatever. They'll say, we know how fucking often the right wingers are doxing people and shooting up shit and fucking look. She let people know her name. She didn't say like where she lived and her home address or some shit like that. But anyways, that's where she got. She got it blew up from there. I am fairly certain. Doesn't the studio look like he's swimming in dark money? Yeah. So that's called what's it called? Like broke rich or something like that. You know what I mean? When you look at like the things that I have, there's only two possible explanations. I'm either pretty wealthy or fucking up to my forehead in debt. I'll let you guys figure out which one it is. Here's a hint. It's not the wealthy one. So check this out. So let's, balling on a budget. Yeah, no shit. Let me say, ooh, damn, that's pretty nice. Can I afford the minimum payments though? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. So you're telling me, hold on. You're telling me you sell me this TV for $900 and I just got to pay a minimum payment of this that will end up you getting $2,000 from me? Deal. Sign me up. Looking out there. No, it's not that bad, but it's not far off. Check this out. So Taylor Lorenz, I'm pretty sure, just by some of the things that she said, the way that she uses the word liberal, and it's not in a good way, I'm pretty sure Taylor Lorenz is a socialist. Besides Manny pays for everything, Robo's the trophy husband. Shit. Soon, I will be a trophy husband. DSB, here's some dark
Here's
money.
some dark money. Don't say anything about this or Brandon is going to cut you off.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating
Hey,
the cats.
Avery Smith, thanks for the sub. Thanks for the sub. Look, here's the deal. Before we continue, I am obligated to let you all know that this stream is sponsored in part by DSB, who gave me 100 bits. I will use the bits toward this channel, and I promise DSB is in no way controlling what I say. But also, pro wrestling is the best sport ever, and fuck Hulk Hogan. The last one was for free. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm the worst. Okay, I even took an Adderall because I didn't want to be all like not paying attention, falling asleep and shit. First rule of dark money: don't get caught. Taylor Lorenz is not a liberal. Pretty sure she's a leftist. She drops an article. Here, let's put it up for effect. She drops an article outing a bunch of liberal content creators for taking in what she says is dark money, right? Interesting, since not that long ago, maybe I think less than a year. Taylor Lorenz, dark money. Less than a year, the right wingers got caught in the same thing, where it was Russians, though. Russians were giving truckloads of money to right wingers like what's his name, Tim Pool, you know, allegedly. I don't know, you know. I mean, if I had to bet, yeah, given the kind of content he gives, I'm pretty sure he got paid to say hey, fucking half the shit he said. But who knows? You know, you just can't know. You can't know. Here's the deal: is now it seems like why is my fucking Steam Deck all the way over there? What's wrong with you? Now it seems like the Dems are in the same hot water. Now it seems like the Dems are in the same hot water. A dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. Now, again, let me reiterate that it is fuck, what did I fucking say? Didn't I just say I took Adderall? What's going on here? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Look, Taylor Lorenz wrote this, handing up. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So, at first, I was like, "Who cares?" And you know, I'm the type of person, right? I mean, y'all have seen me do it way more than once. I'm okay to be wrong. You know, I'll be wrong live. You know, I've made this joke before. That's not even a joke, really. It's like that's why I don't really do debates because I don't know how to perform. You know what I mean? Like I'll be the dude in a debate that's like has all his points ready and ready to go, and then they hit me, right? They hit me with like this combo of facts, like da 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 da, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like that meme, like, oh, and I'm like, there, like I don't care how many people are in the chat, I don't care how, I'll be like, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm done with the debate. Yeah, I'm on their side. So, that's what happened kind of with this, right? Because when I made the post, that was like, look, this is anybody else not give a shit about this? There are people like, well, and this is kind of the one that got me to like go down the rabbit hole and figure out what the fuck's going on. Well, there are a bunch of very large content creators who are not talking about Gaza, who are giving pro Israel bullshit, and paid to push a DNC messaging. So then when I'm like, man, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yep. So let's talk about it, right? So like I had to really dig down. And here's what I find out. So there are activists out there, like, well, here, we'll just pull up the what you call it? Downloads. Boom. So here's a thumbnail. We got Olivia Juliana, who I've been disappointed with for a little bit now. If y'all don't recognize her, she is the young woman who's the dude that looks like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. He's a rapist and likes to cross state lines with underage girls. Matt Gaetz, thank you. She got famous because she confronted Matt Gaetz, I think maybe in a town hall or something, and he called her something. I think he called her fat, or like he just was completely fucking inappropriate. And everybody felt super bad for her, and she was a fucking boss. And she was like, don't care. She fucking owned the internet. Now she's like, you know, a fixture in DC, in Texas. And she really, you know, went on to do great stuff. Or so I thought. She definitely was a, you know, let's get Kamala Harris in the deal. First of all, by the way, when I call people blue MAGA, it's not just because you're a liberal. There are plenty of liberals who are not blue MAGA. There are plenty of liberals I like, even if I disagree with them on on certain parts of my ideology, like Mehdi Hassan. Mehdi Hassan is not MAGA nothing. You know what I mean? He's wrong about capitalism, but I wouldn't call him blue MAGA. Mehdi Hassan said people should vote for Kamala Harris. Still wouldn't call him blue MAGA. You know? So we have that. Lauren Piretra, former Playboy executive turned Occupy Democrats podcaster. Barrett Adair, creator of an American Doll themed pro DNC meme account. Suzanne Lambert, a commentator who dubs herself the Regina George liberal. And then Ariel Fodor, an education-based TikTok creator with 1.4 million followers. So that those names I just are here or here or no, not here. Oh, Barrett's got to be this one. Okay, so Suzanne or Ariel, and this one is Ariel or Suzanne, because then we have the big daddy, the deep pockets, Papa Bags. Let's see, David Pakman, right? David Pakman has 3.31 million subscribers. He is ginormous. Probably in both ways too, who knows? We're going to talk about him because he's responded to this, calling it easily debunked. Okay. We'll see. And then we have Leigh McGowan. If you don't recognize her, she is she does like shorts, Instagram reels and shit like that. She's all over. She's really big on Instagram. And she makes these like little short vertical recordings of her, ranting about politics, right? But people like simple shit. It's why people love Trump. Trump talks at like a 4th grade level, and his constituents eat that shit up. There are plenty of constituents who are very, very educated and still eat them up. I'm baffled, but we know that by and large, his constituents are very uneducated people. And that's how I would describe her content. Very like, this is wrong. Gay marriage should be legal. People should be able to have abortions. Like, it's like this, she's very like, she's good at entertaining. She's good at her presentation. But she is not, she doesn't have any depth to her, in my opinion. None of them do, really. None of them do. I don't know who this dude is, but like these up here, they're just kind of like, meh, whatever. Because people like to feel like they're smarter than others. Yeah, 100%. 100%. This all starts with the 1630 fund. Now, the 1630 fund, no, I'm sorry. Just back up a bit. The Chorus, so this organization called Chorus creates the Chorus Creator Influencer Program. And the point of this program is to get creators, content creators, and start funding those content creators to provide messaging counter to the Republicans. Now, so far, so fucking good. So far, so good. Okay. While that sounds good, that's not where the problem is. If you start seeing people on the internet talk about, oh, well, here's, you're going to be really upset when you find out who funds, mainstream media. You guys are worried about this, but you didn't care when XYZ. I love those arguments. Like, I'm going to call it the Israeli defense from now on, like, why are you bringing up other atrocities? Like, are you saying that, like, are you mad they get to do it and you don't? Like, would you feel better if I was protesting other people? So it doesn't fucking matter because it's not about the money. It's about who is giving them money and what are they doing with that money? Even more than that, did they disclose it? Now, sometimes when you're dealing with politicians and shit, there are like funding laws about that kind of shit, right? Because we're talking about 501c4s, organizations, and 501c3s, different types of nonprofits. And as a content creator, not only might you be getting into some sticky ground with legally, maybe, I'm not a lawyer. What you are definitely getting into sticky ground with is in terms of ethics, ethically, where you all, right? You guys are chat. Maybe there's somebody who you are like, you find out, like, wait a minute, he's getting money from that, right? So let's say, because I know, at least some of y'all are not 100% on board with me on the fuck Kamala Harris train, right? At least one of y'all are that. So let's start there. Maybe you still fuck with me, but that part, we don't see eye to eye. That's fine. That's fine. Like me and Ernie and titties. Sometimes your friendship will have to move past it. Sorry. I said I wasn't gonna say nothing. Look, so you find out that Hamas or some fucked up organization that is like all about the an anti-Semitic organization, right? Let's say that you guys find out that this organization that's an anti-Semitic organization, you guys are gonna be like, what the fuck? Like now it makes sense why you were going so hard against the DNC. You know what I mean? Because you're actually, or something like that. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but ethically, your viewers, your chatters should know where you're getting money from. And that is the problem that Taylor Lorenz exposed. And if anybody tried to defend these creators, and by the way, the people I named, Olivia Juliana, Oren Pietra, Barrett Adair, Susan Lambert, Ariel Fodor, Sandra Jennings, David Packman, Leigh McGowan, those are the ones named in the article. In the actual report, the data that Taylor Lorenz pulled, more than 90 different creators being paid upwards of $8,000 a month and not disclosing it. Apparently, in the contract, they said that they didn't have to. I'm sorry. They said that they couldn't. They could not. Now, why would an organization that is Dark Money Group? Oh no, let me do this. All right, because I keep doing this. Come on. Who am I kidding? Paywall remover. Oh my god. I'm over here trying to do two things at once, and I'm not sure who I think I am, but it sure as hell is not a guy that can, continue on with the story. All right, there you go. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, just Google paywall remover. I always go to the same Reddit. This one Reddit post right here, it goes up. You know, I could save it, but I feel like I always just go there. Wait, where is it? This one? No, that's AI. What the fuck? Do I just usually isn't there like a star up here? Am I missing? Oh, here we go. It's a little bookmarker. Let's put that on the on this bad boy right here. Let's go on the bookmarks. No, where's the bar? Oh, fuck it, whatever. Oh, paywall remover. There you go. All right. In the contract, they're told that they cannot tell anybody. Now, the rebuttal is supposedly that it was in an effort to protect the creators from being exposed to right-wing violence. So you're telling me that there was a rule that you couldn't tell anybody that you were getting this money because to protect, and they were like, nope, you have to sign these NDAs, and it's just, we're just very strict about protecting yourself. No. So here's how it all connects, right? Here's how it all connects. The Chorus Creator Influencer Program is funded by 1630 Fund, and that fund is a 501c4. Now, there's a difference between a 501c4 and a 501c3. A 501, the fact doesn't work. I like it. I don't, but I like that it's a way to that you get the streamers to read it out loud. Thank you for the follow, question mark. The 501c3s are nonprofits that have to disclose their donors, right? They have extra privileges over 501c4s. Those are the ones that are like food, what are they called? The food banks, like homeless shelters, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? David Pac-Man. Nice. Yes, we are. It's a me, ya boy. I saw a short that Brian Bays did a bit. I know he gets on your nerves, so I didn't send it. Brian Bays, he gets on my nerves. Send it to me. Maybe I'll be reminded. The name doesn't ring a bell. But so the 630 fund is a 501c4 because and what that means is you don't have to disclose your donors. So if a source of the funding's the 1630 fund, which is a well-known DNC funding vehicle, right? It's not like they're secret and people don't know about them, but people are saying that part, like what I just said, as a point of argument. When we're talking about secret and when we're talking about dark money, it's not because nobody knows who Chorus is or nobody knows who 1630 is. That's not the fucking secret. The secret is who is giving you the money. That's what the secret is. And did you tell anybody that you're being paid? That's what the secret is. They tell you, oh no, it wasn't telling people what to make. It was to, help people fund and they could fly places and they could, they can get better equipment. And bitch, are you fucking giving this money out for free? Do you really expect anyone to believe that there's this organization that says, hey, if you join, we'll give you $8,000 a month? What's the catch? No catch. I can make whatever I want. Make whatever you want. I just want to help you out, brother, sister, cosmic being. You know? Bullshit. Bullshit. Don't buy it. Not for a fucking second. Now, some people might tell you, hey, there's Judah Red. Messages. Yeah, he does it on me. You're right. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. He doesn't. He definitely doesn't annoy me as much as some others. I wonder if this is the next part of Project 2025 is to remove the secret donor shield the Democrats have put, but keep it for the Republicans. I would, you know what? I would not put it past them. Because before I finished the sentence, I was like, well, no, because it would hurt them too. I'm like, oh, you mean only Democrats out there? I don't know. But crazier things are happening. Yeah, well, I'll listen to this, dude. Here's what I'll tell you. I'm gonna poison. Do I want to poison the well? I kind of wanted to poison the well. So instead of doing that, what I'll do is I'll finish the rundown, and then we'll look at some of the rebuttals. Maybe y'all will be convinced. I won't say nothing. The 1630 fund doesn't have to disclose the donors, and makes the creators sign an NDA that they can't tell anyone either. Influencers had to agree not to disclose their relationship with chorus of the 1630 fund, hiding that they were being paid at all, according to the article. Standard sponsorship transparency, right? Like, you ever hear people like, I would like to thank so-and-so for sponsoring this video, blah, 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 blah. They were not allowed to do that. Again, they said it was because they were protecting the creators, but we know that's full of shit. Per the report, creators also had to funnel all bookings with lawmakers or opposing political candidates could not use the funds without explicit pre-approval in writing. Now, I don't think that right there. My mustache is shedding into my mouth. I don't think that right there is bad, right? I mean, like, yeah, if it's my money, right, and I'm telling you to do whatever you want with it, but you're not allowed to be MAGA. Okay. Before, if you're gonna use the millions, that I put into this program, you got to come to me before you go have an interview with Ted Cruz. I need assurances that you're not going to go out there and do some bullshit as humanizing him or some shit. You know what I mean? I think that's okay. Again, it's about the secrecy. And also, when you are telling somebody that you cannot talk to so-and-so without going through you first, you are controlling the ideology and the content. Which is why this guy's full of shit. Okay, all right. That's the only poison I'm putting in the well. It was a little bit. It was just a little fucking drop, okay? I'm being progressive. I'm being accused of being progressive on Threads, and this is why I hate doing online political stuff. For someone who hates doing online political stuff, you sure do online political stuff a lot. What is it? I'm kind of curious. Sketchy. What is it that you're saying that people think now you're not progressive? And I'm really fucking starting to hate that word, by the way, progressive. You can disagree on how I feel about this, but I feel like but what I felt is if they disclosed and Taylor said they didn't, there's an issue there. There's nothing to argue. No, that's a statement, right? but it's the if that's carrying the bulk of that load there. If you could disagree on how I feel like this, but if they disclosed and Taylor said they didn't, then there's an issue. But here is the thing that statement doesn't really acknowledge, and it's the fact that there are for sure absolutely people who didn't disclose. So if you say that the people who disclose shouldn't get hate or something like that, I agree. But that still doesn't just because some disclose doesn't mean the people who were getting $8,000 a month from an organization that was reviewing your work and putting ideological bumper lanes on your shit, left and right limits, then that is a deal. The only progressive I know is Flo. Jamie and their coworkers. And I don't even like them. Look. If whenever the day comes that Robo hangs it up and isn't streaming anymore, which I don't think is going to be shit, maybe not ever. You know what I mean? How dope would that be? Man, this dude has been streaming to the same 10 people for 30 years. Hold on. Here we go.
I want to address a piece that Taylor Lorenz.
No, we're gonna listen to you later. Okay, per the report, creators had the fund, blah, 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 blah. Creators could not use the funds to make any content supporting or opposing political candidates without express pre-approval in writing. Influencers were only given a few days to sign and told that even if they even acknowledged being a part of the program, they'd be cut off financially. As one professor told Wired, we are seeing influencers being pulled into these dark shadow campaigns where the legal aspect is murky at best. So David Pakman was one of the first to speak out. Definitely the largest of all of them to speak out. He puts out a tweet after a recent Wired hit piece. Melodramatic. I'm here for it. After a recent Wired hit piece now fully debunked, by who? What does that mean? Now fully debunked. By who? I got a lot of these when I was looking, right? What is it? False claims started circulating, and sadly, some people chose to unsubscribe from my website membership, Substack, or unfollowed on YouTube. First of all, can I just say something real quick? Who the fuck is riding with David Pakman? David, Israel has a right to defend itself, Pakman. But shadow money is where you look, I can abide genocide denial. But I draw the fucking line is shadow money. And like I said on Threads, Taylor Lorenz is part of a separate group that uses the same fund. Incorrect. Sketchy got hands. That is not correct. Close. But no cookie. that outcome is exactly and I'll get into it. That outcome is exactly what the author was hoping for when they put out a misleading and inaccurate article. What? So what we're saying is, and this is the shit that kind of like, you know, that makes me laugh sometimes. You know, I'm a fan of Occam's razor, right? Everybody by now knows what the fuck Occam's razor is, but just in case you've heard it and maybe you don't know what it is, it's basically the idea that if you if you have a dilemma and you need to make a decision if something is you know is a cause of a thing, you want to make sure that your assumption that you choose the thing that takes the least amount of assumptions, right? You walk into a room and there's a broken lamp on the ground, and then there's a cat sitting on the ground on the chair right there. You can either assume that the cat did it, or that somebody ran in from your house from the backyard, ran to the living room, knocked it over, ran out, and disappeared. I always like using really, really obvious ones so you can understand. So I feel like I'm better explaining it that way. The other one is like, okay, could that have happened? Is that in the realm of possibility? Sure. But I'm going to go with the cat. In this particular situation, it was self-defense. The cat was attacked every time. Every time. What's a carp? Carpe. So in this particular situation, what David Pakman is putting before us, right? Here are the choices you have. And y'all tell me which one Occam's razor says to use. My dilemma is figuring out which one of these groups is most likely the liar. A journalist, an independent journalist at that, whose entire career it rests in her integrity and her ability to report the news appropriately. Someone who doesn't express any sort of vile hate towards the Democratic National Convention like she does MAGA, although very, very irritating people. So either she's went to Wired and pulled out a whole ass article just to lie, or the group of people who would look really fucking bad if this comes out and this is true, maybe it's them. I think it takes a larger leap to think that it was that the least amount of steps assumptions made is Taylor Lorenz, who just randomly decided to lie. Rocking a whole ass beard. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. No, he had a razor. He just used it to make decisions. He never shaved. He's just out there cutting shit up. So come on. Silly. I'm gonna go ahead and say David Pakman. I'm gonna rate David Pakman's claim. Let's see. 3 out of 5 bullshits. All right. I wish I had a little thing. I wish I had little stickers. We'll put Pakman's face here, and then I'll put three doo-doo emojis next to him. But who else? Who else do we have here? My favorite. Let me tell you something. I used to love. Oh, God damn it! I used to love Booker Squared. Like I used to fuck with Booker Squared hard. I loved the way she would go in on people. I knew she was a little libby, a libster. That's okay, right? Like I said, Medea sounds a lib. I know, and that's kind of what the bucket I put her in. I'm like, yeah, she's a lib, but we can't all be perfect. But then when as the lead up to the elections and after, hold on, I'll tell you what I think. Nah, never mind. I'll get myself in trouble. Let's just say it's sung by what is it? Isn't it 3-6 Mafia? Young Dro. Sorry. Young Dro. Way off. This is on Taylor Lorenz Substack. She is funded by Pierre Omdiar. This is where Sketchy's at. Sketchy's sitting there right now being like the Sketchy's like the Will Smith meme. This is on Taylor Lorenz Substack, but she is funded by Pierre Omidyar. Omidyar. So she does not disclose her Omidyar payments in her content, and I think that is fine, but because like Chorus, that is a training program that is not paying for content, but to flat out say you have zero institutional investors is a lie, especially when fundraising. I've never lied about having paid partnerships elsewhere. So here, but not elsewhere. Here's why. Oh yeah, very different, and yeah, I don't mind pausing to answer this. To get serious for a moment, is this any different from YouTube or Twitch qualifications to get monetized and promoted on these platforms? It's super different, and here's why. And that's why I wanted to emphasize earlier that this is not about getting paid, not at all. True. This is not about getting paid. This is about not knowing who the donors are. That's what it's about, right? So when we get paid by Twitch, first of all, everybody fucking knows because the URL's right there at the fucking top. You can't hide like, all right, I have something to admit to you guys. I stream on Twitch and I get paid by the like you can't, right? It's automatically, just by the nature of being on the platform, you are automatically disclosing that you get money from Twitch. But there's another even bigger difference, and that is Twitch has a TOS that's based off of things like nudity or drugs and shit like that, right? Twitch does not engage in telling you what sort of content you can and can't make with regard to ideology. Twitch doesn't say, hey, you're not allowed to talk shit about Trump, right? Trying to get Robo? What? Trying to get me what? First of all, hi. But what happened? These people are missing out my trying to get Robo. I'm lost. I don't know what the hell's going on. So this looks like people are missing out by not trying to. Oh, got it. By not trying. Yeah, man, you can't do that to me. I'm too tired. Maybe tomorrow morning I would have been able to decipher what you were trying to say. But if you're talking to me at this moment right now, it better be flawless, because if it's anywhere fucked up, I'm not understanding it. So now I'm sure our longtime OG member of the Left Brigade, right? So I'm saying this with love, Sketchy Got Hands. Love. Como así, papi? Nada. Pero David Pacman está entre algo, nah. I say some. Algún? Mierda. How would I say? I would say David Pacman is in some shit is what I was trying to say. And is N or entre? And I was trying to say some shit. Algún mierda? I would check other people too, especially from yeah, no, 100%, not lying. When I jump on threads for a dose of political information and the thought of the day, the main people I make sure to check in, no particular order, is Robo, Sketchy, Blurred, and Judah. Judah? Let me see what Judah is. And the only reason why I say that is because he is smart. He is somebody that is worthless, taking a gander. But he doesn't post very much politics. He's a pretty private dude politically. No, I'm off the top. See that? See that? You see that? All someone has to say is like, yeah, check in on Judah. Judah? Oh, he doesn't really here. I'm going to stop the whole fucking stream. I'm going to stop talking about what I'm talking about. And let's go on threads. This is literally my everyday fucking life. Like one time my son was like, hey, can you pull up something? Can you get me the number to someone? Yeah, sure. What are you doing? Oh, shit. Like, I immediately forget. I'm over here scrolling social media. It's not okay. It's not okay. What are we talking about? We're talking about dark money. We're talking about dark money. Yeah. Just then, my ADHD thing. So I say this with love. I made it. I'm back on the train tracks. I say this with love to Sketchy Got Hands, OG Left Brigade, right? The dude's got to be like a sergeant major or some shit. Maybe a major or something. But here's where Booker Squared is either, he's in the chat. She's either full of shit or she's mistaken. It seems, if it was intentional, it seems a bit of a misdirect to simply say that Pierre Omidyar funds both Chorus and the 1630 Project. Yeah, you can absolutely hate Taylor Lorenz. It's kind of like who was the lady that was on Jubilee last? I like her, but man, I did not realize how many people didn't. Amanda Seales, yeah. Like, you don't got to be sexist about it. I mean, if you don't like her, if you don't like her vibe, don't like her vibe. She still killed it on Jubilee. You know what I mean? Like, personally, I follow, and she drops gems. So I think y'all should follow too. However, it is, if intentional, it is extremely dishonest to say that both are funded by Pierre Omidyar, because there's a little bit of nuance there that doesn't make any fucking, that makes it way different. And that is this. That the 1630 fund is that Omidyar is a donor to. We know he's a donor, but that family, right? The Omidyars, we know they're a donor because they tell you they're a donor. But the 1630 fund doesn't disclose their donors. The money is literally dark money. You know what I mean? The money is literally dark money. We don't know where it's coming from. However, what Booker is alluding to is another thing called the, actually, you know what? I had it written down right here. The Reporter in Residence Program. So the Reporter in Residence Program is the Omidyar's personal, like, charity, like a fund, right? And guess what they are? They're a 501c3. Remember we were talking about that earlier, and they have public records. You know who's donating. And get this shit. What does she say right here? What is that top line right there? This is on Taylor Lorenz Substack. So what does that mean? Not only is the 1630 Fund a different type of nonprofit organization that doesn't release their donors, not only did most, if not all, the creators not disclosed that they were getting their money from an organization that didn't list their donors, Taylor Lorenz was doing the Reporter in Residency program that was being funded by the Omidyar Network. That's a 501c3 that you do know who the donors are, and this is on Taylor Lorenz's Substack. She also disclosed it. That's why it's different, and that's why, for the 11th time, this isn't about getting paid. This is about not disclosing who is giving you money. If tomorrow, like I'm gonna tell you all this, right? You usually have about 10 people in here. How many people? Yeah, we're right at 10. Right at 10. And 10 people over on the YouTube side. So I just assume that all 10 of y'all have 2 windows open. If tomorrow I end up in a big ass fucking studio, you know, looking like a whole setup like I'm Joe Rogan or some shit, and I tell you, I came into a lot of money. I had an angel. What do you call them? Those the angel gifter or some shit like that. And y'all go like, whoa, like who gave you that money? Like, how did you come into that? I'm not allowed to tell y'all. I can't tell y'all. That was a part of the thing. You know, I had to accept the money, but I couldn't tell anybody. I'm telling you right now, unfollow me. All 10 of the OGs, all 10 of the homies, right? Violet Tree 69, all of y'all, unfollow me. I have been compromised. The shit that is about to come out of my mouth is probably controlled by the person who gave me millions. Nobody gives away $8,000 a month because, you know what? I'm a nice guy. This right here lets you know that anything else Booker Squared says after this can't be trusted. Again, not because I think she's a bad person. Maybe this is a honest mistake. Maybe she didn't realize the difference between the two funding sources. Right? Just like Sketchy. I'm not saying Sketchy was in here trying to trick the chat. I know he wasn't. He was just mistaken. Maybe Booker Squared is mistaken too. But whether this is intentional or mistaken, you know she's unreliable. She is not a reliable source of information. It was where's the video at? There we go. Okay. We're gonna watch. Actually, the other one's shorter, so I want you to remember everything I said, and let's watch Mentally Divine Official. Let's see what he has to say.
There's a lot of misinformation going on right now because there's an article published.
Why the fuck is that so quiet? Is it quiet to y'all too? Browser. Oh, I might shut all the way down. It probably wasn't quiet. All right.
Wired that says a dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. That an initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. Let me just clear this motherfucker up right the fuck now. Fuck the camera. I'm talking to you real. Nobody, and I mean nobody, tells me.
No, you're not. Out the gate. No, you're not. Stop it. You're a content creator. You are creating content. Stop being silly.
What the fuck I can and cannot say. I say what the fuck I want to say, when I want to say it, how I want to say it, and not a motherfuck body got something to say about it. Now,
that's dope. That's hard. That's great. But you didn't say if there are contractual obligations on things you need to pass people through. Maybe what you're saying is that they can keep their money. It just so happens that everything I have to say, they're down with. And he could be not lying and bullshitting you all at the same time. Because in his mind, I don't say shit that they don't like me. You know what I mean? Hola, Eugenio, be. What's going on? You see what I'm saying? Like you can lie through your teeth and tell the truth all at the same time because he's not saying anything they don't let him say, right? He's in line. And in his head, he's like, and if I did want to say some shit, they can keep their $8,000 a month. And maybe he believes that. Maybe he believes that. But the fact of the matter is that he's still compromised. Because now he can't ever fucking know if the next... Listen, it's not even just about being compromised on a like on purpose level. It's about you having the professionalism to ensure that you don't get compromised. Because if somebody said, "Hey man, if you I've seen your stuff, I've seen your streams, I want to help you out. I want you to give $10,000 and you get to give, whoever you want, But A, you're not allowed to tell anybody about me. And if you ever want to change things up, just kind of run things through me." We know that getting a review is in the contract, right? They're saying that it's not about whether or not, you're allowed to or not, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But if I'm getting $10,000 a month, it is impossible for me to know. It is impossible for me to know if the decision I make when the person who funds me says, hey, listen, man, I'm not going to tell, obviously you're allowed to do whatever you want. But you understand, like I'm going to have to pull my funding if you go ahead with this story. You know, it is we're a private company. You know, it's not a punishment. It's just like we want to make sure that our money's going towards proper messaging. So do I take that money and trust myself that I'm you know telling you know the truth, you know, that I'm gonna be truthful to myself?
Now that we got that out of the way, I'm gonna spare you the details of the article because the article is long and boring as fuck, and it's also behind a paywall.
If he had read it, he probably. Oh no, he said he got a deal. There are paywall removers. It's really not hard to read it for free. Unless it's something like a socialist mag or some shit like that, or a worker-owned mag. If I found like a co-op, bitch, I am never paying a dime for shit I don't have to. You better be like a worker-owned shit, then I'll pay.
Somebody sent me the actual article on a PDF file because who the fuck is paying for Wired? Nevertheless, she's talking about an organization called Chorus, which, by the way, who the fuck is that handsome man on the motherfucking website? Here's your first clue as to how this article is bullshit from jump, because she's framing it as she's outing this secret group of people.
Wrong. All right, chat. Pop quiz. Is that what she is doing? Is that the purpose of the article? To out the secret group called Chorus? No. Chorus is a public company. Chorus is not the secret and not the fucking point of the article. Chorus, the point is the undisclosed funding from a source that is financed by undisclosed funders.
This website and Chorus as an organization has been public the entire time.
I'm not saying he's lying on purpose. If this were like Trump or the you know press secretary, I'd be like, man, look at these conniving motherfuckers. And some people might not want to be charitable like I'm being. I don't think he's trying to like pull one over. I think he didn't read the fucking magazine. That's what I think. I think he skimmed it. He literally starts off the thing saying it's long and boring. It's not that long, bro. It's really not that long. It's a 15-minute read at best. I hate when here, let me lock these down now that I've moved shit around. It's not that long. So he says it's long and boring. You didn't watch it. Where the fuck did it go? Oh, over here.
They literally say their purpose right here. Chorus is recruiting, training, and supporting independent online voices and building the next era for online news and conversation. Not only that, but there's literally a huge button on the website that says join Chorus.
And when you do, you click it, you join. You're not allowed to tell anybody you joined, and and nobody knows where you're getting the money from. Nobody knows where Chorus is getting the money from. We're just gonna keep repeating.
Where in order for you to join the Chorus creator community, there's an entire application process for you to even join, and they also tell you the benefits of joining Chorus. They say Chorus Incubator Program is a vibrant pro-democracy learning community for content creators. Participants receive a monthly stipend calibrated to the level of involvement you...
See what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I know. I'm not letting liberals slide. I'm letting human beings slide, right? Liberals as a group is a fucking, you know, right? The liberal ideology is a fucking cancer. It is absolutely fucking cancer. But there are individuals, there are varying levels of shit, you know what I mean, on as liberals. And I actually don't dislike this guy. I don't have any smoke for him. I just think he's being very loud and very wrong right now. And I'm getting the vibes that he's not lying to us. He's just really fucking wrong because he couldn't be bothered to read a fucking short-ass article. And I think he probably loves the smell of his farts so much that he's not going to fucking retract this shit either. Do you know how much fucking respect? Stay a fucking liberal. Stay a liberal. You know how much respect I would have for him if a couple days he comes out and he says, man, I talked to some people and I fucked up. I didn't read the article as close as I thought. That whole reels fucking doesn't make any sense now that I realize what the shit is about. Because I'm going to be 100 with y'all right now. I mean, I'm always 100, but I don't know that okay. Maybe I'm stupid. Call me stupid. I don't care. I don't know that I would have known that it was wrong. Deadass. Like if there was some dark money, right? People would think it's some dramatic word. It's just the words. It's just two words. And all it is it's just defining money that goes into political propaganda, but you don't know who the donors are, which is a problem in our political system. But I need y'all to know, not after today, but all the way up until this morning, before I read this shit, if somebody said, hey, we're collecting a bunch of small leftist coordinate, maybe Nebulous is doing a program and they're collecting very small leftist content creators, and there's this program. And they said, we do have an NDA though. Okay. Everybody has a fucking NDA. You know what I mean? I was a part of some panel reviewing movies and shit. I had to sign an NDA. I'd be like, okay. And they sent me some bullshit about how it's for my personal safety. Yeah, whatever. I'm coming out of the military. These motherfuckers say sign stuff. I sign all kinds of shit away. Like, I'm surprised they didn't come from my firstborn. They could have put anything in front of me. I would have signed it. So maybe I do this thing and I don't realize that this NDA they're giving me, because I'm not a journalist, right? These people are not real journalists. But because I'm not a journalist, I don't know that it's wrong. That I have to tell you where my money comes from. I didn't know that. But what I'd like to think is if they caught my ass before this morning, but I found out, I'm like, oh, I get it. We don't know where the money is coming from. Fuck. I know myself well enough, and it might piss my wife off, but I'd be like, can't do it. Hopefully I capitalized on that short period of time. Hopefully I capitalized on that short period of time and was able, you want to review movies? Sign me up. Next time I get the email, let's do it. Let's do it together. All right, let's finish this. Oh, God damn it. Always.
You can commit to the learning sessions. Literally, that's when everything falls apart and you start understanding that Taylor really didn't out anything. She saw public information and wrote an article about it.
Occam's razor. Come on.
In a negative way so that you could believe it. Then she tried to backtrack and be more specific. She said, point to me one video where any of these content creators revealed that they were receiving funding.
That's not backtracking. That's clarifying the point of the article. Unless you want to say she rewrote the article walking back shit or something. That's literally the fucking point of the article.
From the 1630 Fund, a dark money group, prior to our article. But then you
definition. Just remember the definition of a dark money group.
Find out that Taylor Lorenz is a reporter in her own residence cohort program, seen right here. where she is receiving
Wait. Seen where? Hold on.
a monthly stipend of $8,000 plus a $2,000 traveling bonus, totaling $50,000 over 6 months from July to December. And the owner of the Omidyar network, which she's a part of, Pierre Omidyar, gave $45 million
They think they're cooking. They're not cooking.
to the 1630 fund.
1630 Fund, who does not disclose donors and is a 501c4.
Same organization that she's saying is funding Chorus, that's a dark money group. The other
Correct.
thing is she wrote this article.
Wait. Was he even right? God, I fucking hate desktop Instagram. Like, I feel like this should be a plugin. Like,
Knowing that it would create
why
a
doesn't it
negative
have a
perception
fucking
for Democratic
bar?
influencers
I'm not gonna go through the whole thing again.
because now it just comes off as they're only saying this shit because they're paid. She literally named a girl in her article as being part of Chorus, but that girl makes content attacking Democrats all the time and criticizing them for their response in Gaza. I mean, literally, everybody's welcome. But it really sounds like his bitch is mad they didn't get accepted into the motherfucking.
That's kind of weird. Mr. Calling Taylor Lorenz a bitch, but all right, that's weird. It's a choice. The Omidyar network and the 1630 fund are not the same kind of nonprofits. One has open publicly listed donors. The other does not. Taylor Lorenz disclosed the others. You did not. I'm not going to end with hope that helps. Taylor, Instagram has a desktop function. I mean, yeah, this is the website right here. When I say desktop, I don't mean like its own app. I just mean the website. Like, but the fact that there's no bar to scrub or like rewind or something is stupid. Don't get it. Where is Booker's? Did we already go through Booker's stuff? Yeah, we did. All right. Now let's hear from and then we'll be done. With this. Let me know if you all want to do brain rot. Cause I heard Pop the Balloon was wild.
I want to address a piece.
But then this is Threads. Okay, that's why.
At the risk of giving an internet troll more attention, I want to address a piece that Taylor Lorenz wrote yesterday for Wired, an initiative.
So Taylor Lorenz is an internet troll, not a highly successful and respected journalist. But all right.
Literally nothing in this statement is true. I want to address a piece that Taylor Lorenz wrote yesterday for Wired. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content.
None of it's true. They do get paid $8,000. Explain this to me like I'm 5. Okay. I like practicing. I could be long-winded. There's a group of liberal content creators who was a part of a funding program that nobody knew about, even though the funding site itself was public. They are the people who fund this. It's the 1630 fund. Their financiers are secret because they're a 501c4 and they don't have to disclose their donors. So nobody knows who donates millions of dollars to it unless they tell you, like the Omidyar dude. And when you are getting money from a group that tells you you're not allowed to tell other people, you're compromised and it's unethical. they're saying that Taylor Lorenz is inside the Reporter in Resident program, which is a training program as a fellow, and a rich dude, some billionaire, funds both, puts finances, donates to. There you go. Donates to the 1630 fund. It's not his, but he does put lots of money into it. But the 1630 fund doesn't fund the Reporter in Residency program. the Omidyar Network, his personal nonprofit, which is a 501c3, is the one who funds the Reporters in Residency program that Taylor Lorenz is in. And because it's a 501c3, the donors are public, and Taylor Lorenz has already disclosed that. So now it looks like, right, if they all came out and were like, oh my God, yeah, I didn't even know it was that big a deal. Shit, okay. Next time I'll disclose. I don't think we'd be here right now. They would probably try to keep it going or whatever, but I don't think much people are like, okay, they fucked up. They apologize. But they've spent literally since this morning all fucking day long making videos like the one we're about to watch, which only makes me think you knew what the fuck you were doing. You probably knew because you're really you're trying really hard to duck what has been, factually found to be factually true.
Control more attention, I want to address a piece that Taylor Lorenz wrote yesterday for Wired. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. Literally nothing in this statement is true.
So he's
a
co-creator,
Chorus, which is a nonprofit that I helped found to build up our creator ecosystem, which everybody says they want, but few are doing. So here's what Chorus is. It is a scholarship program to teach creators how to grow their accounts, foster engagement, launch their own shows, and become profitable on their own. It's an incubator program to build the pro-democracy ecosystem. Influencers and creators have never been more important when it comes to how Americans are consuming their news. The right has been doing this for years, and the left needs to catch up.
Agreed.
Chorus. So let's talk about what Chorus is and what it's not. Chorus does not pay creators for content, does not tell them what to say, it does not control.
In the they cite contracts. If you are the co-creator making a 4-minute video, then what you should be doing is showing the contract. Why aren't you showing the contract that Taylor Lorenz is referencing instead of just saying, nuh-uh? Oh, he's friends with Destiny, the Predator.
Single creator who would willfully sign up for a program that would tell them what they can or can't say.
People do it all the time.
That's not what this program is.
It's called being hired by CNN.
Show up to workshops and technical trainings to optimize their content online. For example, we've got trainings on how to package content for YouTube, trainings on how to optimize audience retention for Instagram and TikTok, trainings on how to form an LLC. Again, there are 0 restrictions on their content. And by the way, the program works. In just 2 months, our cohort has added a combined 6 million followers, that's not including me, and seen their views and engagement grow. That is the point of the program, to teach creators how to be effective with whatever messages they want to promote. And with regard to keeping it a secret, there is a standard confidentiality clause in the contract to protect the privacy of the creators.
Wait.
First day of the program, it was made clear.
Wait, I thought none of it was true. So far, they do get a stipend. They do have to keep it a secret.
Views and engagement grow. That is the point of the program, to teach creators how to be effective with whatever messages they want to promote. And with regard to keeping it a secret, there is a standard confidentiality clause in the contract to protect the privacy of the creators. On the literal first day of the program, it was made clear to all of the creators in our kickoff session that they were absolutely free to talk about Chorus. And we immediately followed up to confirm that in writing. Creators have videos about Chorus. They've got donation links to Chorus in their bios. I myself have made videos that were posted all over the internet about Chorus that reached hundreds of thousands of people. It is not a secret, and it never was. There's the implication in the article that this is some arm of the DNC, or the Democratic Party. We have literally nothing to do with the DNC. I spend 0 minutes of my day thinking about the DNC. The creators do not toe any party line. How could we? There isn't a party line. Creators are absolutely allowed to speak out against the Democrats, and in fact, plenty do. And frankly, Chorus creators should and do criticize Democrats when they suck, and quite often, they do suck. I've seen posts saying that this is APAC funded, which couldn't be further from the truth. I'd venture to guess that most Chorus creators, myself included on both YouTube and Substack, have spoken out against the atrocities in Gaza. Lorenz says that the 1630 Fund is, quote, a powerful liberal dark money group. 1630 Fund is our fiscal sponsor. One of the...
Aaron Parnas is a member of this and is a whole ass Zionist. And unless he's added some shit, David Pacman, also a Zionist. So I mean, saying, oh, the dead babies, that's so sad. Yeah, I'm sure they said that. But they also followed up with Israel has a right to defend itself. They also followed up with but Hamas.
That most Chorus creators, myself included on both YouTube and Substack, have spoken out against the atrocities in Gaza.
Sure.
Lorenz says that the 1630 Fund is, quote, a powerful liberal dark money group. 1630 Fund is our fiscal sponsor. One of the largest documented donors to 1630 Fund is the same person funding Meteor's Reporters in Residence program, which Taylor Lorenz herself is a part of. And guess what her monthly stipend is? $8,000 per month. So she's criticizing an entity that is funded by someone that she is currently taking money from.
That's 3 different creators that have told the same lie. And let me tell you something. This guy doesn't get the same. Listen, I'm going to say something mean. It's a good thing, bro. Like, I could never be a fucking giant creator because this whole like, oh, you got to watch what you say and blah, blah, blah. Like and I'm not even trying to be like, oh, I'm a badass. I think it would hurt, it would hurt my chances to network. You know what I mean? I would never actually grow because I think that other dude is stupid. You know what I mean? You ever meet people who are charismatic and good, but they're stupid. You know what I mean? Like they're not good at critical thinking. He got visibly upset at how long the fucking article was. So I think that this guy, who is an incredible orator, like he is a really good talker and he's very good at his job. There's a reason why he has millions and millions of views and subs. I think he told them, this is the truth. And let me tell you about the funding and da-da-da-da-da. Do you think they're going to fucking dig into it? Do you think they're going to first of all, they couldn't be bothered to read the article. So while I don't think that the other dude did it on purpose, this motherfucker's doing it on purpose.
Funding Meteor's Reporters in Residence program, which Taylor Lorenz herself is a part of. And guess what her monthly stipend is? $8,000 per month. So she's criticizing an entity that is funded by someone that she is currently taking money from. I guess it's okay when Taylor Lorenz gets paid, but no one else. The monthly stipend that we offer is so that creators can do this work full time. We've had numerous creators in the cohort quit their jobs so that they can focus on creating content full time. That is what we want. I'm really proud that we can give creators that security for as long as they're in the program. We want people to create pro-democracy content full time. And we want to make sure that they can afford to pay their rent and their bills while doing it. If I could have cohorts with 1,000 people in it so that everybody could be part of the program, I would. For everybody saying that they would like to be part of the next cohort, we would love for you to apply. That's our whole goal. It's to build up an army of pro-democracy content creators who can speak authentically about the issues that they care about and be able to do it as effectively as possible. I should note that while I started this program, I have never and will never get paid. I do this 100% as a volunteer. I have never earned a dime from Chorus, and I never will. I want every dollar that we raise to go to creators so that they can do this important work without spending 8 hours a day working at some different job. I've been saying for years that the left needs to build up its creator space. That has never been more true than it is right now. Influencers and creators have never been more important when it comes to how Americans are consuming their news. The left is a decade behind right now. We desperately need incubators teaching and amplifying new content creators, and not just Chorus, by the way. There are other programs in this space doing the same thing. I want all of them to succeed. We need all of them to succeed. There are people like Taylor Lorenz who are desperate to tear the left apart, and in fact, it becomes clear who her efforts help when you hear stuff like this.
Genuinely, I kind of like Taylor Lorenz because I know that she actually believes what she says. Do you get what
Whoever does their sound, do you know how long I listened and I fucking fuck with this shit? I need my shit to sound like that. God, I don't give a fuck what she's saying, but really, really good mic quality. Oh, bitch.
In fact, it becomes clear who her efforts help when you hear stuff like this.
Genuinely, I kind of like Taylor Lorenz because I know that she actually believes what she says. Do you get what I'm saying?
So yeah, I generally don't align myself with friends of Tucker Carlson.
Do you guys think that's honest? Do you guys think that maybe that was deceptively edited? I forgot to pull it up, but I wonder if I did go pull it up, would the before and after that, they spent the entire time trashing her? And the only reason why they said that 1.8 second clip is because she's calling out the Dems? Do you think he knows that? Do you think he's doing this by accident?
I generally don't align myself with friends of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. I continue to believe that the left needs massive investments into the independent media space. I'm really proud of the program that we've built. I'm really proud that we've allowed creators to do this work full time. I'm really proud of the independence that they have to say whatever they want to say in whatever way they want to say it. I'm really proud that our creators are seeing their channels and their pages grow. My goal is to see an army emerge from the left to take on what's happening on the right. Taylor Lorenz and Republicans don't want to see it, but we do. If you also want to get in the fight, apply to the program at wearechorus.org. At the risk of giving an internet troll more attention,
liberal dark money group is secretly funding some of the biggest Democratic.
This got posted 6 hours ago. This got posted after he did his video. So I wanted to watch this. It's only, oh my God, is this the same video? Wait. What? The fuck? Oh.
Democratic influencers on the internet. And I got a hold of their contracts, payment terms, recordings of their meetings, pitch decks for the program, email and text messages between the creators discussing terms, company communication, and more. My story is out right now.
So let's just see. And so when she shows it, people have to say, what is it? CGI? AI?
On Wired, and it's linked in the description below. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty details of who is secretly funding some of the most prominent Democratic voices on the internet, it's important to understand what's been happening over the past 9 years. In 2016, I was a politics reporter covering the election. I was traveling across the country, attending Trump rallies and talking to voters. And one thing that a lot of them had in common is that they had discovered Donald Trump and his MAGA movement on the internet. They were bombarded by his content on platforms like Facebook and Reddit, and fed his messaging through a burgeoning ecosystem of far-right online influencers and forum admins. Online influence was central to Trump's rise and played a huge role in his 2016 win. On election night in 2016, while almost the entire mainstream media was huddled up in the Javits Center watching Clinton lose, I and a small handful of other journalists were across town at the Midtown Hilton, where Donald Trump was camped out with his family and campaign advisors. I was in the room at the Hilton when Trump won and stayed at that event until 6 in the morning. What was notable that night, and why I think that evening was such a watershed moment, is that when Donald Trump took the stage for the first time as the incoming president, he was surrounded by new media. That big party room at the Hilton was packed with MAGA influencers, far-right internet personalities, and popular online figures. And when Trump took office just a few months later, those influencers were there again. They all got together to celebrate the night before his inauguration at an event called the Deplorable. The event was a who's who of early MAGA content creators. It was organized by right-wing influencers Jack Posobiec and Mike Cernovich. Other online figures like Cassandra Fairbanks and Gavin McInnes were also
an actual Nazi.
The Deplorable was held at the National Press Club, and a Peter Thiel associate involved with planning the event said, quote, "Doing it at the press club asserts that we're the new force in town." The whole night, and I was there, was about how MAGA influencers were the new media. Attendees vlogged the party and posted an endless stream of content to Instagram and Twitter. The Deplorable was live streamed on YouTube and the conservative live streaming platform Right Side Broadcast Network. When Cernovich spoke to the crowd, he talked about how the influencers had been able to seize control of the media through the internet. He said, quote, "We ran Twitter. The ground had shifted and media had been permanently upended. But back then, legacy media and certainly the Democrats absolutely refused to acknowledge it. I will never forget getting up on stage at a DC event in 2016 to give a slideshow presentation about influencers like Jake Paul and the entire crowd just laughing. Throughout the 2010s, the mainstream media continually declared that the influencer industry was dead, that content creators were just selfie-obsessed
because we need more
Not
Nancy
a single
Pelosi's.
mainstream
That's what we
media
need.
outlet had a dedicated beat reporter
Young,
covering
fresh
the content creator industry. Instead,
spring
legacy
chickens.
outlets declared this whole shift towards independent influencers as a fad. They refused to acknowledge how online influence played a pivotal role in Trump's win, aside from blaming Russia for buying Facebook ads. They ignored the MAGA movement's very real and very organic grassroots support online and acted like Trump's win was an anomaly. But the reality is that conservatives had been laying the groundwork for total online dominance for years. The far right began cultivating a personality-driven media ecosystem back in the days of talk radio in the 90s. And when the internet came along and social media began to really take hold in the 2010s, conservatives leaned in hard. Turning Point, a nonprofit that advocates for conservative politics in high school and college, was founded by Charlie Kirk in 2012 and quickly emerged as a de facto influencer network. Ben Shapiro founded the Daily Wire, which birthed a slew of right-wing influencers just a couple years later in 2015. Around that same time, Gamergate, a misogynistic hate campaign aimed at driving progressive women out of video games and media, provided a blueprint for how the internet could be weaponized by the far right. Gamergate also catapulted the first generation of MAGA influencers to
I'm a
fame.
businessman,
The alliances
but
that formed
I'm
around
also
Gamergate's
cool.
participants, including Milo Yiannopoulos,
I'm the
Candace
cool
Owens,
boss.
and other future right-wing internet stars, eventually metastasized into a sprawling network. In their book, Meme Wars, the writers Joan Donovan, Emily Dreyfus, and Brian Friedberg argue that Gamergate funneled an entire generation of young reactionaries to MAGA. Steve Bannon, who was central to Donald Trump's win, praised MAGA influencers like Milo for creating an online army that got turned on to politics and Trump. These far-right online creators and the groups of reactionaries who followed in their several high-profile content creators had their access revoked mid-convention. Hassan Piker, the largest and arguably most culturally relevant influencer on the left, was initially invited to the convention, but after he interviewed delegates from the Uncommitted movement, his access was revoked on stream. This approach alienated younger voters who increasingly get their political news through authentic, unfiltered online voices. And it revealed a deep misunderstanding of how cultural legitimacy is earned in the digital era. The content that was produced under this strategy flopped hard. Harris's Call Her Daddy interview, which was heavily promoted as this major moment to reach young audiences, was stiff and felt scripted. Instead of viral moments, the campaign had centrist Democrat influencers with no organic audience repeat stale talking points,
I skipped
avoiding the issues that people
Give me the,
actually cared about.
give me the timestamp.
Meanwhile, Harris passed on opportunities to meet audiences where they were
I
truly
could always
engaged.
go with more
She bombed so
Crowder
badly on
crying.
a potential appearance on Kareem Rama's Subway Takes that the video didn't even get posted. She also failed to land an appearance on Joe Rogan. The Democrats funneled resources into glossy but lifeless content that just did not resonate with anyone outside of the DC
neither am I. It's
consultant
not about him
class.
crying. It's
The
about him being
DNC
miserable.
lauded Beltway-adjacent
Any
safe
chance to
content
see Steven
creators with small
Crowder
audiences,
miserable, I'm
while
going to take
dismissing
it.
genuinely influential figures on the left. The result was an influencer strategy that completely squandered cultural capital and reinforced the perception that Harris was a manufactured and out-of-touch candidate. Throughout all of this, Trump was busy endearing himself to millions via freewheeling conversations with popular live streamers and and podcasters. He went viral on podcasts like the Nelk Boys, Full Send, and Theo Vaughn. On November 5th, 2024, Kamala Harris lost. Trump won the popular vote, and the Democratic Party's abject failings could no longer be ignored. McKenna Kelly, a journalist for Wired and undeniably the single best reporter covering the intersection of politics and the internet, memorialized the Democrats' failed strategy in a 2024 piece titled, quote, "The Year the Democrats Lost the Internet." Media Matters founder David Brock, a staunch Democrat, told McKenna, quote, "The floor has absolutely collapsed with the Democratic Party's brand online. People who don't care about politics don't like us. People who care about and work in politics don't know how to represent us. We are seen as completely out of touch, and as more folks turn to unconventional methods to get their news and media, we are set up for a colossal failure going forward without a strategy shift." For months, leaders of the Democrats, high-profile donors, and liberal political figures bemoaned their lack of support online. The Democrats were finally forced to confront the reality that the media landscape had shifted. In an article I wrote about Trump's win for The Hollywood Reporter, I found that by late 2024, by nearly every metric, legacy media was in decline. Average monthly unique visitors to websites for the country's top 50 newspapers declined 20% to under 9 million in the fourth quarter of 2022. According to ComScore data, the amount of time people are spending consuming legacy media content is getting shorter every single year. The influencer economy, however, is skyrocketing. It's set to surpass $500 billion by 2027, according to a recent Goldman Sachs report. In 2023, 30% of consumers trusted content creators more than they did 6 months ago, according to a report by Sprout Social. And since that,
The reason why is because you're not beholden, right? This thing that she is outing ruins that, right? We know that Murdoch or whatever the fuck, whoever, owns the CNN and Fox News, like they are compromised, period. You cannot be a news anchor on a major network. You are by definition compromised, because just like a good cop, right? Just like a good cop, what is a good cop? A good cop is either dead or getting fired. And I'm not saying like because somebody killed him. I'm saying his other cops killed him. They killed them. Just like, yeah. So if you are a good CNN reporter, you're probably fired. Like Mehdi Hassan. All right, 1455 for...
Gamergate also catapulted the first generation of MAGA influencers to fame. The alliances that formed around Gamergate's participants, including Milo Yiannopoulos, Candace Owens, and other future right-wing internet stars, eventually metastasized into a sprawling network. In their book, Meme Wars, the writers Joan Donovan, Emily Dreyfus...
They said he was crying. Did I misread? Man, got me all hyped up for nothing.
collaborate with Chorus.
Oh, there we go.
This is Gen Z influencer who spoke at the DNC last summer, Barrett Adair, actually a massive new initiative. The goal of this new any Newsies fans here, we're a union, just quote, while not everyone who went to DC with Chorus had the same extensions, you know that there's more to that story. Let me just also say that claiming journalists whose job it is to challenge power, investigate wrongdoing, and report on news happening on their beats have some sort of bad intentions is really poor form. The job of a journalist is to be annoying. It's to piss people off, and especially to piss off people in power.
So let me tell you something. Do you know who Taylor Lorenz is in this situation? Here, I'm gonna put up a picture. Let's see if you guys know where I'm going with this. Oh, I don't know why. What did I read? Scrawny. I don't know, man. I'm shit. Tell you I'm blind. All right, here we go. Here's a picture of Taylor Lorenz. When I was reading this whole thing and how like betrayed they felt, this is what I thought of. Like, Taylor Lorenz doesn't give a fuck. Taylor Lorenz doesn't care if you think you're the good guy. If you are if you are doing fuck shit, Taylor Lorenz doesn't care if you're her boyfriend. She's going to call you out. And I think that's why they're mad. Why would you not let us get away with it since everyone else is getting away with it? Because just because your Democrats, your billionaires are Democrats, doesn't make them better.
And to hold organizations to account. So I kept digging and talking to creators. I spoke to several creators who attended an early chorus activation at the Capitol for Trump's joint address to Congress. The influencers were brought to the Capitol by Chorus to create content promoting Democratic messaging. It was marketed to the liberal content creators as an opportunity to interview members of Congress. But when they showed up, it became apparent that Chorus hadn't actually booked interviews for anyone aside from Brian Tyler Cohen, who co-founded Chorus. One creator who attended the event told me, quote, it was essentially go to the Rayburn building and go trick-or-treating for interviews. It was so embarrassing, and it didn't put us in the position to make good content. After knocking on the doors of lawmakers' offices unannounced, the group of creators was able to generate content that ultimately garnered over 53 million collective views. But afterwards, they were asked to submit that content that they created to Chorus in order to get their travel costs reimbursed. This irked the creators, who felt like Chorus now wanted to use their content to put into a deck in order to show the Democrats who hired Chorus how successful their activation was, when in reality, the creators say that they received little to no support. vSphere of Under the Desk News told me, quote, it was Chorus's first test as a collective, and I wasn't there, but it didn't look like it went so well. Creators made good content, but they would have made that content without Chorus. Through a spokesperson, Brian Tyler Cohen responded to me saying, quote, while not everyone who went to DC with Chorus had the same experience, this trip led to dozens of interviews and posts that generated an audience more than 50% bigger than the speech itself. I'm proud that an organization only a few months old had that kind of impact, and we're iterating so the experience and our reach can be even bigger next time. But a few months later, influencers began reaching out to me again about Chorus. They told me about a new creator program that the organization was recruiting people for. I was interested, and so I started digging. Before long, someone leaked me a private group chat where dozens of Democratic political influencers were discussing whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. As I write in Wired, the influencers were being offered $8,000 per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet. But the contract, which was sent to them from Chorus, came with some major strings. The influencers in the group chat debated the details and whether or not to try to collectively bargain for—
Well, hold on. This is the thing that Booker says she's wrong. This service agreement made by in between the non-profit operates a tax exempt 501c4, like I said, is entered into effective or shall sometimes be referred to whereas courts desire to build this up. And contrary to desires to make contractors' expertise, this doesn't say
The
anything.
influencers in the group chat debated the details and whether or not to try to collectively bargain for changes in the contract. Lorenzo, a non-binary creator in Columbus, Ohio, with over 884,000 TikTok followers, asked the group, quote, should we send a joint email or are we just going to send things separately and hope they change everything for everyone? Eliza Orlins, a public defender and reality TV star, posted, quote, any Newsies fans here? We're a union just by saying so. A reproductive justice influencer named Perry, who posts under the handle @WomenInAmerica, posted in the thread, quote, reading through this revised Chorus contract like, you win some, you lose some. I also think there's at least 4 other things that should change, laughing face. But the vibe I got from their email was that there would be minimal, if any, changes. Erin Parnas, a Gen Z news influencer who has been called the Gen Z Walter Cronkite, posted to the chat, quote, I don't feel strongly about pushing, to be honest, in regards to the contract. Quote, they aren't going to modify it anymore. Seems like a take it or leave it. The influencers who made up the chat have millions of collective followers and are some of the biggest names online posting in support of the Democrats. In the end, the majority of creators in the chat ended up signing the deal. I found out that the secretive program that the influencers were discussing in that chat is actually a massive new initiative. The goal of this new influencer program is to try to tip the balance of power on the internet towards the Democrats. And the program is being funded by a powerful liberal dark money group called the 1630 Fund that is working with Chorus. The 1630 Fund is distributing as much as $8,000 per month to influencers. The program kicked off last month, and the creators involved were told by Chorus that over 90 influencers were set to take part. Rather than launching the program as a public-facing initiative, however, where creators could openly and transparently use the funds to invest in their businesses, the program is being run in secret. Creators told me that if they were even so much as to acknowledge they were part of the program, the contract stipulated that they'd be kicked out and essentially cut off financially. Influencers included in communication and an onboarding session for those receiving payments from the 1630 Fund include Olivia Juliana, the centrist Gen Z influencer who spoke at the DNC last summer, Barrett Adair, a content creator who runs an American Girl doll themed pro-DNC meme account, Suzanne Lambert, who has called herself a Regina George liberal, Sander Jennings, a former TLC reality star and older brother of trans influencer Jazz Jennings, David Pakman, who hosts an independent progressive show on YouTube covering news and politics, Lee McGowan, who goes by the online moniker Politics Girl, Lauren Pietra, a former Playboy executive turned political influencer who hosts a podcast for the Occupy Democrats, and dozens of others. According to copies of the contract that I obtained, the influencers are not allowed to disclose their relationship with Chorus or the 1630 Fund, or thus functionally that they're being paid at all. Here, I'm just going to quote a bit directly from my Wired piece, which is linked below. Dozens of liberal influencers are believed to have been approached by Chorus and the 1630 Fund about a financing opportunity this spring. They were told that Chorus appreciated the work they were doing online and were asked if they'd be interested in being part of the first cohort of a new program that Chorus was running to help, quote, expand their reach and impact, creators told me. Following the initial outreach from Chorus, many creators expressed concern about some stipulations within the contract. According to copies of the contract, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. Creators also have to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political leaders. One creator who was offered the contract but ultimately declined to take it and asked not to be named told me, quote, if I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with Chorus. If I get Zor on and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't want to have to give that to them. The contract also prohibits standard partnership disclosures, declaring that creators will, quote, not publicize their relationship with Chorus or tell others that they're members of the program, quote, without Chorus's prior express consent. It also forbids creators from, quote, disclosing the identity of any funder and gives Chorus the ability to force creators to remove or...
Wait a minute. This has to be AI, though. This has to be lying, because Brian Tyler Cohen said that they are allowed to tell anybody they want. I'm so confused. I just don't know who to believe. The person with receipts or the person who just made a random video and put it on Threads? I don't know.
Correct content based solely on the organization's discretion if that content was made at a Chorus organized event. Ram Wilson, a lawyer working with Chorus, told creators on a Zoom call that I obtained a copy of,
These B-rolls are killing me.
There are some real advantages to housing this program in a nonprofit. It gives us the ability to raise money from donors. It also, with this structure, avoids a lot of the public disclosure or public disclaimers. You know, paid for by blah, 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 that you see on political ads. We don't need to deal with any of that. Your names aren't showing up on reports filed with the FEC. I reached out to the Federal Election Commission about all of this, and they declined to comment. Already, creators in the program are creating content together. In a new weekly series titled Good News in Politics, 6 creators in the program shared a collaborative video running through liberal political wins. The caption read, "Follow these creators, bringing you hope instead of doom scrolling." There is zero disclosure from any of these creators on this post or others that they are part of this program or accepting money from the 1630 Fund. Elizabeth Dubois, associate professor and university research chair in politics, communication, and technology at the University of Ottawa, who's researched ways that influencers are reshaping the political system, told me for Wired that, quote, "We are seeing influencers being pulled into these dark campaigns or shadow campaigns where the legal aspect is murky at best." Dubois added in my article for Wired, quote, "Sometimes it is actually clear that influencers are being used to, for example, evade spending limits. I think that we need to remember that for democracy to thrive, we do need transparency around who is paying for political messages." She added that political orgs and dark money groups are increasingly, quote, "using this information environment in a way that allows them to circumvent transparency safeguards." For my Wired story, I also spoke to Don Hyder, the chief executive of the Marcella Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University. He told me that the restrictions outlined by Chorus and the 1630 Fund violate ethical norms. He said, quote, "If the contract for getting money from a particular interest group says you can't disclose it, then it's pretty simple. You can't take the money. We're living in an era where a lot of powerful people have basically taken the rule book and thrown it out the window." And this is the part that really shook me too. As an independent journalist and content creator myself, I think that trust is so absolutely important. With big public media companies, we know where their money is coming from. And with influencers,
I don't know why she didn't hit this. The Omidyar Network receives no funding for the Reporters in Residence program via the 1630 Fund. or any other outside word sources. Like, they straight up give you some bullshit and just go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go make a reel about this.
I think that trust is so absolutely important. With big public media companies, we know where their money is coming from. And with influencers, we should know where their money is coming from too. Of course, a lot of influencers post undisclosed sponsored content. And I reached out to the Federal Trade Commission also about all of this. But I just think in terms of journalistic integrity as a content creator covering news and politics, you should be transparent about who's paying you. For instance, say you're watching one of my videos and I'm suddenly talking a lot about the Democrats, how they're the future and how they're amazing and how we all need to vote for them and support their failed policy agenda, blah, 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 blah. Then it turns out that I'm actually getting paid tens of thousands of dollars from the largest and most powerful Democrat dark money group. It seems to me that that's the type of information your followers or audience have the right to know. And I'm sure creators will say, oh, but Chorus never told us explicitly what to say. And sure, maybe they didn't write out exact lines for you, but the creators who joined this program are expected to attend regular advocacy trainings and daily messaging check-ins, according to a Chorus representative's comments on a Zoom call that I obtained. Those messaging check-ins are led by Brian Tyler Cohen on rapid response days, and the creators also have to attend at least 2 Chorus newsroom events per month, which are events Chorus plans often with lawmakers. And again, I just have to say it again, because even if Chorus never explicitly told any of these creators to take down specific content or that they weren't allowed to say certain things, I still think the fact that the contract itself doesn't allow for transparency shows that this is not an ethical agreement. We should know who big Democrat influencers are taking money from. So let's talk a little bit about the 1630 Fund, which is funding this whole initiative. As I wrote in Wired, the 1630 Fund has emerged as a powerful funder in Democratic spaces in recent years. Its website notes that issues supported by the organization include climate solutions, racial justice.
Yeah. All right. So that is the rundown. I would go, if that stuff interests you, check it out. But I think we get it now. I'm pretty sure at this point, she's written the article, she's put out the receipts. Nobody else, not one person, not the co-creator himself, has put on anything and given us any receipts to rebut anything. All of them in order just came out, put out a video and said, nuh-uh, and then lied, said, you do it too. They all had this, listen to all of them. They all, they did their own writing, but they got assignments. Make sure you tell them that you're allowed to post whatever you want. Make sure you tell them, maybe call them jealous or something. Booker T said that she was jealous. Shit. Where is it? But yeah, I think we get the point now.
Voter access.
Stop it. This one should be smart. This one should be good. And then we'll be done. I don't want to
revert to their default setting. One thing that will never cease to amaze me is the way that a bunch of white women will revert to their default settings, and we're never going to get out of white supremacy or fascism because of it. So I woke up today to this article in Wired that was sent to me by some folks that says that I'm part of this creator cohort getting dark money in the form of funding to more progressive creators, because this shit is hard. The right already has a ton of funding. Under this fascist regime, it's going to be even harder. We get death threats like that crazy MAGA dude who tried to fight me the other day in the restaurant. Like, we get crazy shit at us. So, like, we need to get some kind of funding. So, Chorus, I'm on the website. It's been linked in my bio for I don't know how long. And I even did the DNC chair forum with Chorus. It's not a secret. But then they also said in the article that they control my content and restrict it. Now I'm even more lost because
link it to Chorus is not saying that you get paid by Chorus. It's saying, hey, this is a program out there that you like. Yeah.
Restricted. Now I'm even more lost because I'm like, since when? Because they ain't paying for no content. And my content's been the same. I control what I want to say and when I want to say it. And
that's why they're
just
giving you
paying
money
for us to be part of this training so we learn how to use platforms better and grow on YouTube. We get to help each other out, share tips and tricks, and they're paying us a stipend. This is no different than
people pay to go to boot camps, like IT boot camps and cybersecurity boot camps. People pay for training and certs. Who the fuck is paying people $8,000 a month for training? Like, hey, do you want this opportunity to go get trained and we'll pay you $8,000? What? For nothing? Come on, be for real.
makers yourself. I don't even know how Chorus will manage that, but they don't know what I'm doing 9 times out of 10 unless I choose to share it in a chat and be like, oh, guess what cool thing I'm doing. They don't have any control over it. So that was weird to me. And then to try to insinuate that like they're restricting our content so we can't talk about certain things. Like one of the creators mentioned in the same paragraph as my name in this article, she was just laying into the Democrats' ass like not that long ago over the way that they are not handling the genocide in Gaza correctly and how fucked up it is how they've been voting. Like she was laying into them, Cory Booker and all of them. So I'm like, how the hell are you going to say that when you can go to the pages of the creators in the article and see what we're talking about?
That's what's up.
That's weird. And I'm just so lost because as a black woman who does political work, already there's a target on my back. This is already fucking difficult. I don't know why this person would like make up a bunch of stuff. I don't know why. And it's really unsafe. It's not helpful. And it's just flat out false. And then I find out that the journalist who wrote it, she's in her own cohort of journalists in residence with the Omidyar Network getting $8,000 a month herself.
All are saying the same
And the
thing.
Omidyar group, that's one of the people who has donated to 1630 Fund. That's the same organization that she highlights in the article that is helping us with our nonprofit. It's the same.
No, it's not.
So I'm trying to figure out how that's like dark money for us, but not for her. Like I'm trying to figure out why it's okay for her to be funded as a white woman journalist.
Nah, fuck that. I'm a fucking brown man, and I am very clear that I don't fucking experience racism on the same level as black folks, especially not a fucking black woman. So, but I'm still fucking brown. Okay, I still experience racism, and when you use like that is some white woman shit that you just did. That's a white woman maneuver. Playing fucking hurt. Like the only thing you're missing is crying. That's it. The only thing you're missing is tears. You got held to the fire. Bro, I just realized something. Look at this. Look at this. You were attacked because you're black? Because you're a woman of color? Because you're melanated? Is that why Taylor Lorenz did the article? Because she's a white woman who can't stand, maybe she's a white supremacist, and she just needs to make sure that that woman of color stay down. Maybe that's what it is. I wonder. Like, how much fucking damage do you think is done when you take a very real, very dangerous thing, and I believe her that her life is in danger. I absolutely believe her. Like how self like cutting your own feet off by making the world dangerous for yourself and others to use she's a white woman to avoid accountability for accepting money that you don't have to disclose. No one's saying you don't have to, that you have to change your content. Clearly, you're a fucking patsy anyway because you're blue MAGA. You don't have to change shit. You're the one calling people white supremacists when they didn't want to fucking vote for a genocide supporter. Why would you change your content? They want that shit. Because with you and every other white person on this fucking screen, you guys are making sure the establishment stays right the fuck where it is. Just a lesser evil. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit fucking more. This election is the best. I'm telling you right now, I need everyone to hear me. I'm telling you guys in advance. I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm not voting for somebody who has taken money from AIPAC or who supports the fucking genocide. If you want my vote, you better fucking say that you're not going to take money from AIPAC. You better say that on day one, you're going to end weapons to Israel. And if Israel doesn't get the ammunition for its fucking Iron Dome, that'll be a call Israel has to make. Because you either get the ammo for the Iron Dome and end the genocide, or continue the genocide and let fucking Iran handle you when you run out of ammo. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. Booker T. Washington or whatever her name is, she can call me a white supremacist all she fucking wants. I'm not voting for somebody. That motherfucker could be Puerto Rican with Puerto Rico tattoos all over him, melanated as fuck, darker than me, indigenous as fuck. But if you support a genocide, I'm not fucking voting for you. I don't care what fucking color your skin color is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the stream. Thank you for all for being here. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the love. And for those of you who had both windows open, thank you. Thank you. You guys might be the greatest heroes of them all. I will be live on Thursday. Oh, it's Friday. I'm taking the wrong, I'm using the wrong spiel. So I'll be live on Monday. On Monday, here, real quick, before everybody fucking bounces, real fast, don't go anywhere. If you got up from your chair, come back. Real fucking fast. Sit your ass down. Give me 30 more seconds. Give me 30 more seconds. This guy right here. Yeah, 100% Monday night. Yep. This guy right here, Black Red Guard, is going to be on the stream on Monday. Part of the Afro Sock Caucus of the DSA. He is a communist, Marxist, and a member of the DSA. And so what we're going to talk about is he has some pretty strong stances and videos about it too. So you might want to check him out. We'll do Brain Rot on Monday. It's getting late. I still got to finish a video for Ernie. But he has a video on why you shouldn't vote for Democrats anymore. He also has a video about how white DSA is, and he is a DSA member. So check him out. Check him out. It better be before sunset this time, Robo. I'm only up because I'm cleaning. Well, you can't finish it all. Save some for Monday night. Put your headphones on like you have on right now, I bet, and do some more cleaning on Monday night. You know, matter of fact, twice a week is pretty good to make sure you got a good upkeep, right? Just clean. Make Monday nights and Friday nights your cleaning time, or at least Friday nights. Yeah, and I have, if I had it loaded like Ernie, I'd be like, I'm afraid I have some bad news. The stream is every Monday and Friday, sometimes at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's when it starts. Mike DeFonte had gender affirming carrot to pop his chest to look. Oh man, punctuations. I'm like, why is he clowning Michael DeFonte that hard? And then I realized, no, that's yeah, I get it. I'm tracking now. I get it. Take care of yourself. Make sure to hydrate. I'll see you all on Monday. I love you.